sports.
We are Blackmore. We are Florida.
Remember disco? Everybody was grooving it. Everybody moving it. Some moves were tight. Some were really lame. Tonight is disco night. Anthony DiSclafani gets his second start. Marlins, Phillies. Time to get your freak on. In Miami tonight, T-Mobile Tuesday Night Baseball. The Phillies are in town, the first of a three-game set, and the Marlins are back home after a long West Coast swing. The Fish are a game over, and the Marlins welcome in the Phillies. Marlon Byrd, Christian Yelich getting ready to go. A.J. Burnett, our old friend, gets the start, and one of the new Marlins, Anthony DiSclafani, a.k.a. Disco. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz, Tommy Hunt. I promise no more dancing up here. The Marlins are back home. Now, the Fish have not played well on the road, though they have won 3 of their last 5. They finished the road trip strong. But they get back home. That's the good news. If they can keep playing like they have at home, that would be even better news.
Right now, it's just a confidence factor, and I think the fact that the ball club's 17-5 at home, they need to get that disco beat going and just keep it moving at home.
Okay,
they couldn't let it go.
The reason his nickname is Disco is DiSclafani is a difficult one to pronounce for even teammates, so he's just been Disco. But if he pitches like he did in Los Angeles, I think people will learn how to pronounce his name.
You know what? The only other Marlin to begin his career and win 2 consecutive games is the guy Disco's pitching against tonight, A.J. Burnett. He threw the ball really well in Los Angeles, and the thing that impressed us is that DiSclafani attacked the zone. He didn't waste much time. He threw that good 2-seam fastball. Lots of fastballs. He'll mix in an occasional curveball. The Marlins minor league pitcher of the year in 2013. So DiSclafani gets a chance to make it 2 wins in a row.
What a contrast, though, because he goes up against a veteran, a guy that was a Marlin, that has turned himself into a wily old veteran in our Chevron matchups. A.J. Burnett, the Marlins saw him in Philadelphia.
You know, I don't know many times that A.J.'s been called wily. He was wildly early in his career, but he's become a good 2-seamer. He looked good early in the game in Philadelphia, but remember, he left the game with a growing injury. He walked 6, didn't look good. We were all wondering if he'd continue to pitch. Well, his next start, he went 7 shutout innings and gave up just 3 hits to the Atlanta Braves, and he's been on a nice run. Quite a different pitcher than he was when he made his debut as a Marlin.
And it's the first time the words A.J. Burnett and disco have ever been used in the same sentence. But that's the matchup tonight. And, of course, it's Tuesday, kids. An email and Twitter Tuesday. Marlins and Phillies. Park in Miami. Emails and tweets and Allison Williams. Hey, Dub.
Hey there, Rich. Yes, it is Email Twitter Tuesday for the first game of a 6-game homestand for the Marlins. So as always, we want to hear from you throughout the broadcast. You guys know the drill, how to reach us using the hashtag Twitter Tuesday, and at Fox Marlins is our handle. Email us foxmarlins@gmail.com. Special guest tonight, Reed Cornelius, bullpen coach, will join the guys in the third inning on headsets. Now, the Marlins back at it after a much-needed off day after a long 11-game, 11-day road trip on the West Coast. So how did they spend the off day? How about this? A.J. Ramos out at Zoological Wildlife Foundation in Miami. Me and Smokey kicking it, he said, with his Instagram post. That is a cub, a baby bear with A.J. As you can see, he's pretty excited. And you know he didn't go alone. His partner in crime was with him as well. Giancarlo Stanton posting this picture with a baby tiger. Had the best time at Zoological Wildlife Foundation. Thanks for your hospitality at ZWF Miami and Maria ZWF Miami. Quite the off day. Rather adventurous, the two of them. Last year, Nathan Eovaldi and Kevin Slowey headed down there. Yesterday, it was A.J. Ramos and Giancarlo Stanton, who A.J. said Stanton was so excited he was actually giddy. It's hard to imagine Stanton getting giddy, but apparently he did. You can see why, hanging out with all those very cool animals. Hey, last time we were at home for an Email Twitter Tuesday, we asked you to tweet in walk-up song suggestions for Marlins second baseman Derek Dietrich. You guys did. We checked with him. We picked a few of our favorites, and tonight they will play when Double D is up to bat. A couple of the ones that you'll hear: Lenny Kravitz, Fly Away, and also DJ Snake and Little John's Turn Down for What. So some new tunes for Double D when he steps up to the plate, and this one he will be up in the bottom of the first inning. But when we come back for first pitch, top of the first, it's time for a party at the disco. Anthony DeScalfani making his Marlins Park debut in Game 1. Phillies and the Fish. Marlins baseball is next on Fox Sports Florida.
On Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. By AT&T Uverse TV. Check availability 1-800-PICK AT&T. Rethink possible. By Checkers. Visit your local Checkers for the $2 shrimp and fries box. And by your South Florida Honda dealers and sfhondadealers.com. The Phillies in town, opening up a 3-game series. Marlins and Phils ready to go. Philadelphia arrives 3 under at 19-22. Ryan Sandberg sending Jimmy Rollins up to lead it off. He'll be followed by Carlos Ruiz and Chase Utley. Utley against the Marlins swung the bat very well in April. Ryan Howard at first, Marlon Byrd in right, Cody Ashe is at third base, Dominic Brown in left, Tony Gwynn Jr. is in center field, and A.J. Burnett in the 9th spot. Pinch-A-Penny's first pitch is a fastball, and that's no surprise. DeSclafani threw a lot of fastballs in his win against the Dodgers. But he's facing Jimmy Rollins, Carlos Ruiz, and Chase Utley. And the right-hander out of Freehold, New Jersey, Colts Neck High School, is behind in the count 2-0. Got a rookie umpire behind the plate, calling balls and strikes with a rookie pitcher on the mound. Will Little is behind Jared Saltalamacchia. DeSclafani is just out. It's 3-1.
Well, I think the thing we saw in Los Angeles, just one walk in his 6 innings to go along with 7 strikeouts.
Line drive over the head of Echeverria. Over for it is Ozuna, and Rollins is around first with a line drive base hit.
Take a look at that defense behind DeSclafani tonight. There is Yelich and Ozuna in center field. Giancarlo in right. McGee and Echeverria, Dietrich and Jones around the infield. And Jared Saltalamacchia handles DeSclafani.
Here is Carlos Ruiz.
And if you remember, it was Jeff Mathis who caught Disco in L.A.
Rollins leaning, not running. And a fastball misses. I guess the question coming into this ball game, Tommy, is can DeSclafani survive throwing mainly fastballs, which is kind of what his game plan was against the Dodgers. Rollins 5 stolen bases. Ruiz right center. Ozuna makes the catch.
Hey, by the way, with Jimmy Rollins getting that base hit, some guys don't have careers with this many hits, and for Rollins it was his 272nd hit against the Marlins.
Well, if Rollins doesn't have the all-time high as a Philly, the guy at the plate might, or the guy behind him might. The Marlins have seen so much of Rollins, Utley, and Howard over the years. Utley climbs in at 338, 3 homers, 22 driven in. But look at what he did against the Marlins. He was the hottest hitter in the league, it felt like, just when the Fish were in Philadelphia. He was 7 for 12, a homer, and 4 RBIs.
Yeah, for a while it was Utley, Charlie Blackmon, Tulowitzki, right at the top of the National League. Utley has continued to stay hot. He dropped a little bit all the way to 338 if you consider that dropping.
Now, the Phillies scored a bunch of runs against the Reds in their last 2 ball games. You can see the batting leaders with Utley right behind Blackmon. An 8-3 win and a 12-1 win over the weekend for the Phils. But in the Friday game, they lost 3-0. And after that game, they had been shut out 4 times in 10 games. So the Phils and Ryan Sandberg have been having trouble scoring some runs. They think they've solved it. They think they felt very good about the weekend, taking 2 of 3 from a good Reds team. Rollins still at first. DeSclafani to the plate.
You know, this series and matchup kind of goes back to conversation we had, I think, in Atlanta, talking about how the Marlins have to take that next step against teams in their division. And if you go back the last 10 series they've played the Phillies have won 8, lost just 1, and tied 1.
Rollins bluffs. Utley takes a strike, and it's 2-1. So DeSclafani fell behind Rollins, who singled. He's fallen behind Utley with 1 out and a 2-1 count. Utley, of course, injuries shortening his seasons, but finally back at full strength. Has rehabbed vigorously. He's kind of back to his own form, and he takes another strike, and it's 2-2. Right now, he leads all National League second basemen on base percentage, slugging percentage, Utley has 17 doubles this year, and that's tops among second basemen.
And he'd be the first to tell you that the reason for what he's been able to do so far this year is that he's been healthy.
Pulls it, hits it well, but hits it foul. And they count 2-2. Rollins is still at first. DeSclafani with the 2-2. Rollins runs, and it's fouled back. When the Phillies were going to the postseason, they ran a lot, and they ran with a lot of success. The remnants of what Davey Lopes was able to do are still there. I mean, Rollins can still run a bit, but this certainly isn't the dynamic speed team that combined power and speed in 08 when they won the World Championship, and in 09 when they went to the World Series.
Yeah, Rollins with 5 steals this year, 430 in his career. Boy, he's closing in on lots of milestone numbers.
Yeah, he's 21 hits shy from being the all-time hit leader in Philly history.
That's a franchise that's had some pretty good hitters over the years.
Mike Schmidt and Richie Ashburn are just in front of him. Now the 2-2. Rollins running again. Pitches low. Saltalamaki's throw is high. And Rollins has a stolen base.
6 for 6 on the year in that department. And that's a veteran hitter in Utley. A lot of hitters, even though it's ball 3 and the count 2-2 on that pitch, a lot of hitters will go ahead and swing. But Utley, very patient, knew that it was out of the zone.
Rollins is second in Phillies history in stolen bases. Billy Hamilton, the Hall of Famer, has 508.
Not the Reds center fielder.
No. Though he may get there before too long. Utley walks. And now DeSclafani is in a spot that he was not in Los Angeles. Remember, in Los Angeles, the Marlins came out and scored early runs for him. He was ahead of hitters. He challenged them with the fastball. He did have a couple runners on in that first inning. He walked Yasiel Puig. Adrian Gonzalez singled, but he was able to get a fly ball out from Andre Ethier. And so here's Howard. And he's fallen behind Howard 1-0, the big left-handed slugger.
This is where, and we talked a little bit about it in LA, where DeSclafani can't think about the resumes of the hitters. A guy like Ryan Howard, all his home runs. He has to just stick with his game plan, use that two-seamer, get him to hit a ground ball. But it's going to be tougher falling behind as he has 2-0.
Well, the resumes that the Dodgers presented when they came to home plate were pretty stunning in Los Angeles. I mean, you were talking about from Puig to Gonzalez to Kemp to Ethier. 2-0 pitch. Howard hammers it right field. Stanton trying to cut it off. He does. Rollins will score. Utley to third. He'll stop there. And falling behind for DeSclafani hurts him. Ryan Howard's 6th double. He drives in his 23rd run.
Look at the target down and away, and the pitch up and out over the plate. Ryan Howard doesn't miss that one too often. Giancarlo playing a little bit off the line. Similar, not quite as far off as we saw him play a lot of hitters in San Francisco.
One of the bright spots for the Phillies at the plate now, and that's Marlon Byrd. Bird, the 36-year-old, with the Mets and the Pirates last year, had a terrific year, including a great September for the Pirates. Phillies inked him to a 2-year, $16 million contract. He's been one of their most consistent hitters in 14 doubles, 5 homers. He's got runners second and third, and there's one out.
I would say a lot of people probably question that 2-year contract to the elder Marlon Bird, but so far it's looking pretty good for Philadelphia.
Especially in a year where Dominic Brown, a guy who had a real good year last year, has struggled. One pitch. Haven't seen too many breaking balls, and it counts 1-2.
In Los Angeles, DeSclafani had an opportunity, because he was throwing a lot of strikes, to stay with that fastball, but because he hasn't here tonight, he hasn't really established that breaking ball. So it was good that he threw that for a strike, got the strike on the foul ball.
One-two coming, infield's back. It's Utley who's at third. And for DeSclafani, this has become a 22-pitch inning, and he's thrown just 10 strikes. And Bird, obviously a seasoned major league hitter who can hurt you. 2-2. Fastball, ground ball, foul.
Yeah, you're right about seasoned. You have a veteran team. The Phillies have the oldest roster in the National League. The Marlins have the youngest roster. So Ryan Sandberg knows he has a lot of hitters who've been there, done that, and they can be very patient at times.
Two in the air, and Jones to the rail, and it's into the seats. Anthony DeSclafani, start number 2 in his major league career. A.J. Burnett, starting for the Phils, will make his 380th career start.
And oddly, they both made their Marlins debut in the major leagues at Dodger Stadium. And they both won.
Two coming. And DeSclafani is going to have to win this ball game if he wants to share another distinction with Burnett.
That's right. A.J. Burnett, the only other Marlin to start his career as a Marlin in the major leagues, to win his first 2 games.
He's having to wait a while after warming up because DeSclafani is scuffling. 25 pitch innings so far. Still 2-2 to Marlon Bird. And Bird won't go away.
Well, DeSclafani having trouble putting him away. Next pitch will be number 9 to Marlon Bird alone.
Checkers bring you Fox Tracks tonight as the Phillies and the Marlins open up a 3-game set in the Fish. They have their rookie right-hander, the former Gator, Anthony DeSclafani, out there. 9th pitch of the at-bat.
We could have had time to delve into the email basket.
Normally you wait till the 2nd inning when things calm down. You try to get the lineups in, do all the niceties that you're supposed to do to open a major league telecast.
Kind of like attending a dinner party. You get all the things out of the way, all the
you just don't walk in
salutations,
start eating.
Yeah.
Another 2-2. Soft ground ball. It's going to score a run. Utley will score. Echeverria throws out Bird. And an RBI for Bird is 26, and the Phils have given A.J. Burnett a 2-0 lead.
I actually have a tweet from an old friend. We have to throw it out there. Can I do that? I know you usually lob the first one.
You handle the tweets. I'll do emails.
From Logan Kensing. Logan say, hey guys, just wanted to let you know I miss you. Got the MLB package so I can watch the broadcast. When are you going to have more mini shows like the misadventures of Logan and JJ?
There's a strike to Cody Ashe. Logan was a terrific television host as a Marlin. He and JJ went a lot of places, saw a lot of things.
I guess we could say we might have some more of those when we get a couple of guys who are up to par with Logan and JJ.
Changeup misses outside. The count's 1-1. DeSclafani's split is not good right now. 17 strikes, 13 balls. Adding up to the 30 pitches he's thrown so far. Ashe, the 23-year-old, takes low and inside.
Right now the secondary stuff giving him a problem. And Ashe's been one of their hotter hitters lately.
Jammed him, and a pop-up. Yelich is there, and he makes the catch. It was a long inning. DeSclafani gets through. 2-0 Phils. First, Philadelphia puts 2 on the board to begin with. And Miami, a game over 500, has this lineup. And it's brought to you by JM Lexus tonight. Christian Yelich in the leadoff spot. Derek Dietrich hits second. Giancarlo Stanton first in runs driven in. Second right now in home runs. Casey McGee, Garrett Jones, Jared Saltalamacchia, Marcelo Zuna, Adeiny Echeverria, and Anthony DeSclafani for Miami. There is A.J. Burnett, 37-year-old, all 6'4", 237 pounds of him.
Boy, it's been so long ago, a lot of people forget he was actually an 8th-round draft pick of the Mets, and then came over to the Marlins when the Marlins sent Al Leiter to New York.
Yelich in the leadoff spot. And a breaking ball misses inside. Road trip numbers for everyone. Something to look at. For Yelich, scored 11 runs on the road trip. Hit 3 home runs. 3 of his 8 hits were home runs.
Yeah, kind of interesting. The average was down a little bit on the road. But doing a nice job at the top of the order, and then he had the one game Sunday in San Francisco. He batted 3rd.
Liner to left, well hit. And Dominic Brown makes the catch. And so there's an out. Here comes Derek Dietrich. He's got a new walk-up song, and he's got a new haircut as well. It's Lenny Kravitz. Fly away, and obviously the tie in there. Dietrich's grandfather, former big leaguer, longtime minor leaguer, was his mentor. Used to tell him, "Let it fly." That was the piece of advice, and Dietrich has that tattooed on his wrist in honor of his grandfather. Giancarlo Stanton behind him.
Yeah, his maternal grandpa, Steve Demeter, hit 272 home runs in the minor leagues.
Dietrich had a nice road trip power-wise. 2 homers, 2 doubles. Count 1 and 2.
Last time out for A.J. Burnett, he lost 3-0 to the Angels. Gave up 7 hits and 3 runs, just 5 innings.
Dietrich gets hit a lot, and he takes one there. He's on his way down to first. Not that that's his choice, or he's trying to get hit. He just seems to get plunked.
Well, this one right at that front leg, right up near the calf. Never feels good. A.J. Burnett, his long career. You mentioned Rich, 37 years old. He's won 149 games. A.J.'s never been an all-star. Most wins for any team with the Marlins.
And now Stanton climbs in. With Dietrich at first, and Burnett to the plate. It's a strike. Stanton on the road trip. 2 doubles, a triple, 2 homers. He hit .395. In May, .403 average, .507 on base percentage. And that's out.
Yeah, in the month of May, tied with Yasiel Puig with 25 base hits. So it's been a, well, it was a solid month of April, and he's just continuing on in May.
McGee's on deck. Dietrich, by the way, has been hit 7 times. The Marlins as a team have been hit only 11 times, and Dietrich has sucked up 7 of them.
Well, that's another reason you like him at the top of the order. Second baseman with the Pirates, Neil Walker, just 1 ahead.
Utley is a guy that's always on that list.
2 second basemen on that list.
2 left-handed hitting second basemen. Stanton takes out. It'll be interesting to watch the Phillies, who traditionally are not a real aggressive shifting team, to see how they handle Stanton, Jones, and Saltalamacchia. We saw a variety of shifts.
San Francisco was pretty aggressive with their shifts.
3-1 coming. That's out, and Stanton walks.
Well, that's really good patience on the part of Giancarlo. A.J. Burnett not in agreement with the young umpire, Will Little.
And Ryan Sandberg backing his pitcher up. Here's the Phillies defensively.
Well, in the outfield, it's Dominic Brown and Tony Gwynn Jr., and then Marlon Byrd, the veteran, in right field. Cody Ashe done a good job at third. Jimmy Rollins and Chase Utley up the middle. How many times have we said that? Ryan Howard over first, and Carlos Ruiz on the plate.
All right, A.J. Burnett was angry at that last call, but you see it was out. It's pitch number 5, and Will Little was all over it. Here's McGee now. Runners first and second. Into center field. Some things never change. Here comes Dietrich. He will score. And Casey McGee has another hit with a runner in scoring position. Unbelievable.
Just incredible. I mean, you're doing the Marlins and Casey McGee a favor when you allow base runners for him to come up and hit. With runners in scoring position going into this at bat, a .452 average. He takes the first pitch breaking ball from A.J. Burnett and does what he's done so much all year. A lot of those base hits have been up the middle into right center. There's only one guy in the National League hitting higher with runners in scoring position, and that's Troy Tulowitzki.
Now Garrett Jones. Jones on the road trip. A triple, 4 doubles. He hit .270, but he swung the bat better than his average would indicate. He hit a lot of line drives at people. He had a solid series in San Francisco, had hits against tough left-handers.
Dropped down a bunt base hit against the shift.
Hit a couple of balls into left field against the shift.
This is just a good sign, by the way, for the Marlins to come back here and put up some offense after the Phillies took a quick lead.
Ball and a strike. It's right on the edge.
I think A.J. may have helped his cause getting that call.
Jones hits a fly ball towards the line and shallow. Brown is on and it drops. Base hit. Stanton at third. Bags are loaded. An odd swing, but it works. Jones was all tied up.
Yeah, kind of in no man's land. Nobody could get there. Brown couldn't get there from left. Ashe couldn't get there. Brown playing a little bit over in left center with Garrett Jones, the hitter. And because of all of that, it drops. And the runners have to hold because you're not sure if that ball's going to drop or not. But Stanton was able to get to third.
And now Saltalamacchia, who had a miserable road trip until he got to San Francisco. And on the Friday night, on an 0 for 26 slide, Saltalamacchia had 4 consecutive hits on a 4 for 5 night. Fouls that pitch off. He followed it up the next night with an RBI triple and a line drive, or excuse me, with a single and a sacrifice fly on a 1 for 2 night, and he also lined out in his only out.
Little bit of history with Salty and A.J. Burnett. Not great history. He's just 1 for 12 in his career.
Looking for something to drive. Bags loaded. And with 1 out, Burnett is out in front 0-2.
With Burnett ahead 0-2, let's see if he does what we saw a lot of teams do on the West Coast. Climb the ladder and try to get Salty to chase that high fastball.
Stanton, McGee, and Jones. Breaking ball tied him up and struck him out. Well, that was quick. 3 pitches. That's all Burnett needed to take care of Saltalamacchia.
Yeah, it's a big at bat right there because certainly with 1 out, you're hoping to get a ball in play and at least getting a run in to tie it. Now there's a lot more riding on Marcell Ozuna's at bat.
So here is Ozuna. Ozuna's numbers have suffered of late as he's cooled down after a very nice April. Burnett misses away. Ozuna had a hit on Sunday. It was his only hit in the Giants series. Just a 179 road trip. Ball and a strike. We will get to emails and tweets.
Sometimes with Ozuna, I was talking with Frank Menachino, Marlins hitting coach, about Marcell. Sometimes he gets too aggressive. He said he wants him to see the pitch before he goes ahead and takes that swing. Sometimes he goes up there, doesn't have a real game plan, and just swings.
We've got a young, aggressive hitter at the plate. You've got a veteran pitcher on the mound. See what he gets. 2-1. Breaking ball. And it's a called strike. Ozuna thought it was up.
Boy, a lot of pitchers don't get that high strike call on a breaking ball.
Two. That's out, and Burnett didn't get that one. And now it's a full count, 3-2, and that was just out.
See if he goes back to the breaking ball. Right now, it looks like Will Little, the young home plate umpire, has established he's consistent, but it's not a big strike zone.
Runners in motion. Let's see what Burnett offers Ozuna. Full count, 2 outs. There they go. Fastball, and he got a pretty good pitch to hit, and he fouls it off.
That's that fastball. If you get that same pitch, 2-0 or 3-1, you're on it a little bit better. But full count, you got to be ready for anything.
Burnett now with his 27th pitch. Bags filled. They're on the move again. It's out. He walked him, and Burnett is furious on the mound right now. Ruiz turns around to talk to the young umpire. And it's a 2-2 game. Remember, Burnett did not like pitch number 5. Pitch number 7, same spot.
Well, that's what's frustrating. The pitch number 5 could have gone the other way too, but he got it, and that's why he's frustrated. Or he didn't get it, then he did get the other one. So that's what's frustrating, the inconsistency. So A.J. Burnett probably wants to say to Will Little, the young umpire, don't you know my resume? Don't you know I've won 149 games? I'm 37 years old. I've done this for a long time.
Hey, give the young umpire credit. He's been on it.
Yeah, he has.
The balls have been right up.
And give some credit to Marcell Ozuna. He had a patient at bat. He saw the ball. It's a good AB.
Now Echeverria in a 2-2 game. It's funny how we talked about DeSclafani making just his 2nd start in the big leagues, and Burnett making his 380th, and yet they both have had difficulties here in the 1st inning. DeSclafani threw 32 pitches. Burnett's about to throw his 29th.
Yeah, 61 pitches now have been thrown in the 1st inning combined. With a couple of walks, a hit batter, Marlins have taken advantage.
1-1 coming. Two and one. McGee, Jones, Ozuna. Well, Burnett hit Dietrich. He walked Stanton. McGee knocked in a run. Jones blooped a single. Saltalamacchia struck out. Ozuna walked with the bags loaded. And the 2-1. And Echeverria fouls it at the plate. Two grand slams. One was in Philly.
That day he had, what, 7 RBIs, 6 RBIs?
I believe he tripled,
yeah,
as well as homered. and almost in the same spot up in right center field.
Yeah, 7 RBI game.
2-2. Outfield swung to right center. Now Burnett keeps picking at that corner, but he hasn't been able to catch the corner to get the call.
Look at the grouping of those pitches.
And it's back to a full count with the bags loaded and 2 outs. Runners on the move. Ryan Sandberg on the top step. There they go. That's fouled off of Ruiz. So Burnett has now thrown 33 pitches. His ball strike ratio is a mess. 16 balls, 17 strikes.
Well, I don't have to be an expert analyst to let you know the bullpens are going to come into play tonight.
McGee, Jones, and Ozuna will be on the move. That's good speed with the trail runner, Ozuna. There they go, and here it comes. And Echeverria just swung at ball 4.
Boy, chase one, yeah, that would have been ball 4.
This is a real interesting spot for a young hitter. We talked about it with Ozuna. Echeverria, the same type of hitter, very aggressive.
But you know what? I would rather see that than to take a called third strike in this situation.
He certainly has seen a lot of pitches. Everybody has. They'll be on the move again. 3-2 coming. Echeverria, center field. Gwynn is there, and he makes the catch. Well, just your average first inning in which 67 pitches were thrown. Get a crazy good deal to see the Marlins with the Chevron Crazy 8 ticket offer. Visit a participating Chevron. Fill up with Chevron with Techron gasoline. Bring your receipt to the ticket office for up to 60% off lower level tickets. Restrictions apply. The next Crazy 8's Wednesday is May 21st against the Phillies at 7:10. Dominic Brown, Tony Gwynn Jr., A.J. Burnett on their way to the plate. And we'll see if Anthony DeSclafani can throw some strikes. Misses first pitch. Fastball, it's 1-0. Are you ready for the first email, Tommy Hutton?
I sure am. I've been ready for 37 minutes.
This one resulted in neither of us winning the $10 pot, and it's from Senora Clark in Jupiter. Taped the game from Friday. Heard you pronouncing the Spanish name for Yusmeiro Petit's Mexican team. Liner into right field. That's a base hit. Stanton picks it up. Dominic Brown has a hit. It's spelled Oaxaca, and you guys hammered it. Actually, I'm putting words in her mouth there. It's pronounced Oaxaca, and we did correct it. We had some of the crack staff later in the game sent us the correct pronunciation. We gave it our best shot. Senora Clark teaches high school Spanish in Palm Beach County. And thank you for your fun broadcast. Thank you, Senora Clark.
Muchas gracias, senor. We actually butchered it. We were terrible. Hey, we've been talking about the early struggles here. Another first pitch ball. And for DeSclafani, that was not the case in Los Angeles. And so the first two hitters here in this inning alone, he started with ball one.
2 of 8. First pitch strikes. Ben Revere has been out of the lineup, was ill this weekend. Tony Gwynn Jr. in there tonight. DeSclafani gave up a couple hits and a walk and a couple runs. One foul back to the screen.
You know how, Rich, after the tweet, there's the minutes or hours when it was, and have one from Kim an hour ago. That was early in the first inning.
That would be a timestamp.
Okay, that's what you call it. And Kim had a good question about the clubhouse. Kim wanted to know what's a typical pre or post game meal in the Marlins clubhouse. First of all, John Silverman and his staff, Lou and Dominic and Michael, everybody just calls him Bean. They do a terrific job with an assortment of meals.
Ground ball, Dietrich got one, Etch's turn, not in time. Gwynn can run, and he got down the line quickly.
Yeah, when you have the kind of speed that Gwynn has, you got to hit that really sharp ground ball. That was just a semi 2 or 3 hopper, hard to turn 2 with him running. A lot of other runners, you could get the double play, but a good feed, chest tie to Echeverria. He gets off the throw before the slide of Brown. Everything done right, but there's a foot of Tony Gwynn Jr. just beating the throw.
Mark Carlson, the first base umpire. Ted Barrett's at second. Paul Schreiber is at third. We talked a lot about Will Little behind the plate. His chief antagonist from the bottom of the first is at the plate, and A.J. Burnett.
And for Kim, I couldn't go through all the different types of meals, but they're all very health oriented and good stuff in the clubhouse.
It's changed since you were eating in clubhouses.
Back in the 70s, it was pizza or fried chicken. That was about it.
Seriously.
And look how I turned out.
That one is bunted foul. And the difference then was clubhouses 60s, 70s, even into the early 80s didn't have kitchens, so to speak. So the post-game meal or pre-game meal was often put on a card table or just a long table.
Sometimes in the middle of the clubhouse.
In the middle of the clubhouse.
And you hear the old stories of the irate manager, or sometimes a player would come in and flip the table with all the food that you were going to eat after the game, and all of a sudden it's all on the floor.
Crushing the spread in those days, not good. Nowadays, it's a totally different deal.
So Michael Diaz and Lou, they do a great job down there and really have some good stuff.
0-2 to Burnett, still trying to bunt. DeSclafani. And for DeSclafani, a welcome out here. Struggled in the first inning. And Tommy, you pointed out how efficient he was in Los Angeles.
Yeah, it's a different pitcher tonight. We talked about all the fastballs. He did throw 67. Look at that number of fastballs. Slider's kind of an in-between slider and curve, but we'll call it a slider. Just one changeup and 20 of 26 first pitch strikes. So a little different here tonight. These are those games you have to try to put it together while you're out there, and it's a battle.
This is a guy you better be careful with, because Jimmy Rollins had a really good swing at a fastball in the first. A line drive single to left. And the Marlins have seen a lot of Rollins and know that he still has pop in that bat. Remember his walk-off homer against the Marlins up in Philadelphia, though it did come from the other side of the plate against Dan Jennings.
Good off-speed pitch there. And you saw how Rollins was fooled.
Rollins turned and said something. It was to a fan who had been heckling him before that at bat. And it was something along the lines of "how you like me now," but it had different flowery language. Runner going, pitch in the dirt, and a stolen base for Gwynn.
Well, certainly the Phillies have guys like Rollins, like Gwynn. They have some guys who will run, but they also have some guys who won't run. And that's amazing. Of course, Tony Gwynn Jr. hasn't played a lot this year, but amazing that that's his first steal of the year.
His first attempt. 1-2. Rollins pulls it on the ground. Dietrich goes to get it, waits for Jones, gets the out, and DeSclafani gets through the second unscathed.
We were just talking about the spread inside the Marlins clubhouse. Well, for Anthony DeSclafani, who's playing in just his second major league game, the food, part of the best part of being in the big leagues.
Everything's kind of taken me by surprise. The travel, the service, and then just being in these awesome ballparks. I couldn't, like the plane, like doing the plane ride with all the food was just like there's constant food coming up to you. I couldn't. That was pretty cool. And then just even the food here in the clubhouse, all that's like available to us, and you know, stuff like that. It's pretty awesome.
You're eating a little better.
For sure, no doubt. No more peanut butter and jellies.
Disco enjoying being in the big leagues. He also sent out a tweet, since it's Email Twitter Tuesday, sent out a tweet after that start saying, "This will be a night I will never forget. Thank you everyone for the support. Glad we got the W. Hashtag Marlins." He's up to bat here, guys. He had a good night at the plate against the Dodgers as well, picking up his first big league hit and a couple of RBI. Rich, Tommy?
You're right, Allison. It was a fun night, certainly in Los Angeles. Jim and Kathy, his parents, were there, and they were thrilled that he was pitching. And the RBI that he got on an error, and then the RBI single that he got was just frosting on the cake, if you're going to stay with the food stuff.
There were just a whole lot of firsts that were really good, ones that he'll always remember.
Fouls that pitch off.
Remember, he hit that two-hopper. It had a lot of spin on it and really crossed up D. Gordon, who backed up on it. He was charged with an error, but a run game. He got an RBI on that. And then picked up a base hit right up the middle.
And Burnett splits the plate with a fastball for strike 3 called. 1 out here in the second. 2-2 ball game. Marlins and Phils. Email saw that Andrew Heaney was promoted to AAA. Any speculation on his call-up date? And what are your thoughts on this kid? And that's from your greatest Montana Marlins fan.
Oh, we got fans up in Montana. That's good. I really like the fact that Heaney, or any pitcher or any player, gets promoted from AA to AAA. We've kind of fallen in, all organizations, in bringing guys up from AA. And I think there's something to be learned, and just learning how to make more adjustments at the AAA level. So I really like it, and hope to see Andrew Heaney flourish in AAA just the way he did in AA.
AAA, you run into a lot more savvy hitters, more veteran hitters. Whereas you might face more prospects and younger players in AA. Burnett misses in. Frank Menachino always feels that for hitters it's a nice progression because they see veteran type pitchers.
AAA, you're not always going to see that 2-0 fastball.
It's been a frustrating night for Burnett. He walked a pair, hit a batter in a 2-run first. And he's 3-1 on Yelich, who had 3 home runs on that last road trip. And he bangs that one to left center. Brown is there. And he makes the catch. On this social media Tuesday, you can tweet your photo using the hashtag #FLFanPhoto. It's a chance to have it shown in an upcoming broadcast. It's brought to you by AT&T. So 2 outs. Here is Dietrich. And it all started for Miami in the first when Burnett hit Dietrich in the right leg. He then walked Stanton. McGee an RBI single. Ozuna ended up walking with the bases loaded. And that's how the Marlins tied the ball game.
I like this tweet by Pete because I like where he's thinking. So if the Marlins were to make the playoffs as a wild card team, who would be their starting pitcher?
Well, one of the things about making the postseason as a wild card team, you don't get to choose your starting pitcher.
Yeah, it might be whoever's available.
Because most wild card teams have to play till the very end.
Let's say in a perfect world, let's say they had a choice and Mike Redmond had a choice.
Here's the 1-1. Well, my choice would be Tom Kohler. Because he's been Miami's second best starter this year compared to Jose Fernandez.
That'd be a playoff salad then.
Yes. It's ironic that when Wendy's is promoting their salads when we showed the big salad.
Yeah.
Unless he signed some sort of endorsement deal, and every time he appears, a salad pops up.
I might go with a Nathan Eovaldi. And then you always have Henderson Alvarez. So there are some choices, but no clear-cut one as you would have if it were Jose Fernandez. We got a chance to see today. It was great to see him.
Full count on Dietrich. You'll see Nathan Eovaldi tomorrow night. Kyle Kendrick, 6:30 start for Marlins Live. Dietrich hits a high pop-up on the infield. Rollins takes charge and makes the catch. And Burnett tightens up in the second. A 1-2-3 inning.
Español está disponible por SAP.
In Miami tonight, the Phillies and the Marlins opening up a 3-game series. Disco night. Anthony DeSclafani gets Carlos Ruiz, Chase Utley, Ryan Howard. 3 very experienced bats here in the top of the 3rd inning. And there's a first pitch strike. Ruiz flied out his first time up. McGee has plenty of time and makes the play. And out here in the 3rd. You know what, Tommy Hutton, the search for the next Fox Sports Florida girl is underway. Are you a passionate Florida sports fan? Then you could join Annalee and Jordana in representing the Sunshine State's best sports teams on this network. Submit your application today at foxsportsflorida.com/girls and tell us why you deserve to be the next Fox Sports Florida girl.
Well, the question I have, Rich, is where are Annalee and Jordana going?
I think the paragraph inferred that you would be joining them.
Okay.
So maybe there will be 3.
Okay.
Here's Utley now. Utley walked and scored. Sends that one right center. Stanton is on it.
There's
He
that
reaches and makes the catch.
There's that positioning in the outfield with Stanton shading well over into right center and able to track that one down.
Julio has this tweet. Why don't the Marlins bat Stanton in the cleanup spot?
I think if you had, let's say you had an ideal leadoff man, then maybe you could hit Yelich 3rd. Of course, you might hit Yelich 2nd. You like to get him up there in the 1st inning if you get a man on. That's one of the reasons I like him hitting 3rd.
Well, it's one of the reasons Tony La Russa used to hit Albert Pujols in the 3 spot in St. Louis. And that was A, you get him to the plate more times over the course of a season. And oftentimes he would do it in concert by hitting the pitcher in the 8 spot. And he felt that that would give Pujols more RBI opportunities.
See where Freddie Gonzalez has done that a few times with the Braves. Has hit his pitcher in the number 8 spot.
2-1 now to Ryan Howard. Reed Cornelius having a very quiet and peaceful night so far out in the bullpen. He will join us. That is coming up in the bottom of the third. Strike on the outside corner. DeSclafani seems to be more in rhythm. Fastball under command now. The ball strike ratio much better than it was in that long first inning. Howard into right field. Stanton comes on. He slides. He got it. Stanton picked it off the grass. Tremendous catch. And a tremendous inning. A 9-pitch inning ended by Giancarlo Stanton with a sliding catch in right. Burnett and Anthony DeSclafani, only a lot of years and a lot of starts between the two. And joining us now live from Miami's bullpen, Reed Cornelius, Marlins bullpen coach, just getting settled in. Reed, you had a chance to watch Disco pitch in Los Angeles and watch him warm up tonight. What's the difference between Los Angeles and tonight that you see?
I just think that he's getting his legs underneath him and settling back into a routine. Had a little bit of a long trip coming back, so I think he's going to be fine. He threw the ball well in the bullpen, and he's going to be all right tonight.
We were told, Reed, that in L.A., and obviously he had the nerves going, and in some cases that's good. Did he have a little bit of that same feeling tonight?
Yeah, it didn't look like it. Your first big league start is going to be a little bit of a thing to remember, and you get that adrenaline, you got those nerves going, and sometimes it helps to push you to be even better, I guess. And then sometimes you get a little bit of a letdown, if you want to say that, for the second start or the next one. But the guys learn to control their emotions. They learn to control that adrenaline, and they sort of settle in. And once they're comfortable, you start to see them build consistency out there.
What do you remember about your first major league start?
Not a whole lot. It was a blur. I do remember Ron Gant stole home off of me, though.
Did he really?
Yeah, he got me in the 6th inning, I believe it was.
Hey, at least you were in the 6th inning.
Yeah, I made it that far at least.
Stanton is at the plate. Counts 3-1. Giancarlo leading off the third in a 2-2 game. And a fastball up. He walks him. Just looking at you in the bullpen, the two guys behind you, the demeanor of the bullpen has changed a bunch. When you got Kevin Slowey and Randy Wolf sitting there talking baseball, it's got to be a fascinating discussion to just listen into.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of experience between the two. They've seen a lot out there, and they bring a great deal of knowledge and experience to our bullpen, and helps out a lot of the younger guys for sure.
That's good stuff. Who down there is most likely to give you a hard time with you being on the air now?
You can pretty much pick a number right now. If you look over to my left, if they can pan over there, we got a bunch of guys over here that I don't know if they haven't been on TV before or they're trying to get on there or something like that. But they have a good time, but they're all business once the phone rings down here, and they'll be ready to roll.
Well, it shows you the maturity of Slowey and Wolf. They're in deep conversation while everybody else is causing trouble.
No question. You can pick out the veterans down here. That's for sure.
McGee is up now, and he takes down low. Where's the bullpen at this point? A.J. Ramos and Steve Cishek, Mike Dunn all had nice road trips. You guys are still sorting through a few roles down there.
Yeah, guys are, they're settling in, and I think it happens that way every year. You break out of spring training, you're not quite sure how everything's going to shake out, and then as guys get out there and pitch and perform, they start to settle into their roles, and basically they all take it the same way. Once that phone rings, they're not really worried about it, whether it's my time or not, my role or not. The bottom line is we go out there and get outs, and that's what they're all striving to do.
Casey McGee with a count 2-1. Giancarlo Stanton at first, nobody out, bottom of the third. Remember, Burnett got wild in the start against Miami up in Philly. That one's towards the line. Bird is over, and he makes the catch. So there's one out. Reed Cornelius with us.
Reed, how important is it for you to always be in communication and have a good relationship with Chuck, the pitching coach?
No, it's very important. Chuck, basically sets the tone. He sets the plan for the pitchers, and mechanically, approach-wise, everything that we do. Chuck likes to have information. If I see something down here going on during the game or during the flat ground before the game, he wants to know, and he asks questions, and we talk, pretty much daily.
It's a fair ball. Stanton headed towards third. They're going to send him. Relay throw coming home. Stanton is in there. Garrett Jones. And the Marlins have a 3-2 lead.
How about the two base hits of Garrett Jones tonight? The little blooper into left field. Then he crosses everybody up and stings one past Ryan Howard over the first base bag. It's going to be a double, but alertly he took third on the throw to the plate. There's the swing. He gets to that pitch on the inner part of the plate. A long way for Bird to go in that corner. There's the slide by Giancarlo to get the plate with his hand. And on that throw, that's when Jones went over to third. That's good base running on his part.
And so now the infield comes in with one out, and it's Saltalamacchia against Burnett. Burnett won this battle back in the first when he struck Saltalamacchia out with the bags loaded and one out. And so here is Saltalamacchia, Tommy, right back in the same spot where he's just looking for contact. And Will Little, the young umpire, with some words for Miami's dugout.
Well, I think he's got both benches upset with his strike zone tonight.
Up and in. And it's 1-1.
We've seen Sandberg shaking his head. That first pitch was called a strike. We've seen A.J. Burnett question some of his calls. DeSclafani's too inexperienced to question anything.
Here's the 1-1. And that's a strike. Reed, you've seen A.J. Burnett at the big league level for a long time. He's really changed his approach, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's become a pitcher. He moves it around, he sinks it. Always had that good curveball, and he's just like every guy that stayed around for 13, 14 years. These guys, they know what they're doing out there. They keep everything under control, and it never looks like there's any panic. And he has definitely become a very good pitcher.
Yeah, 20th year as a professional, 16th in the major leagues. He's made a lot of iron, he's made a lot of coin, but he's changed, and he's able to adjust.
Yeah, and it looks like he uses that two-seamer, and it used to be just straight power coming at you, 94, 95 miles an hour, and that good hard curveball. It looks like he's just put together some good pitches and has learned to command everything around the zone.
And another strikeout of Saltalamacchia, which With 2 outs now, the infield can relax, and here comes Ozuna.
All of a sudden, it starts to get a little frustrating because there are a couple of runs that have been left out there in situations with Salty at the plate and striking out, not making contact, maybe getting that run in.
Reed, it's an email night, so we'll leave you with this email. You can speak for the team on this one. Alex wants to know, will Jose Fernandez stay in contact with the team behind the scenes to keep the Marlins chemistry going? What did you see when you arrived at the clubhouse today?
You know, I didn't see Jose today, but he was here. They told me while we were out for early BP and for guys throwing their flat grounds about 3 o'clock that he was in the clubhouse and just talking with the trainers as I'm coming down, Kozak and Sean Cunningham. They've talked about him coming in and doing his rehab and being around the clubhouse while we're at home, and then while we're on the road, he's got another place he'll be working. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see a lot of Jose around.
We saw him a lot. He met the media. He was nice enough to come up to the booth, and I think we're going to see an awful lot of Jose, which is great. His enthusiasm, his spirit, very infectious. Here's the 0-2 pitch, and Ozuna cracks it into center field. On comes Gwynn, makes the catch. Miami gets a run, but they leave one at third. Reed Cornelius, thanks for the visit.
Hey, thanks a lot. Enjoyed it, guys.
All right, thanks, Reed.
And Reed Cornelius, give me the fish to lead there. Nice half inning. Ahead 3-2, top of the 4th. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Rich, thank you very much. You guys are talking about Jose Fernandez. We had a chance to talk with him today. Everybody felt, I think, a little sick when you saw him in that sling. He's got an upbeat attitude, and as typical Jose, very unselfish in his comments.
I think it was sad, and it was sad not because I got hurt. Obviously, I don't want to get hurt, but it was sad because I felt like I let my team down. And that was a tough part. That was a tough part, I felt like I fell to my teammates.
Jose said he felt the arm feeling a little different in the Dodgers start here at home. Did not blame that line drive that hit him in the leg. Went to San Diego, said he was not 100% going in, but did not want to mention anything because he felt the team in first place needed him, and he had no regrets about that. And here he's on the field today. I had a successful surgery on Friday. He said the toughest part's going to be watching the games on TV. He thought originally he'd be out a month, no big deal, but he told us when he saw what the doctors showed him was a complete tear. He knew there was only one option, that surgery, and he joked saying, I'll be throwing a bullpen a few days left-handed. He's got a great attitude, and that's going to carry him. As we've talked to everybody who's gone through this, it's a tough road, but there can be a rosy side too. A lot of guys like A.J. Burnett, who had it a long time ago, I think in 01 or 02, or actually it was 03, because he only pitched 4 games that year for the world champs, have come back, so we'll see. But it's unfortunate. And a little starch was taken out of the Marlins, and hopefully they can get it back and move on, because nobody feels sorry for them.
Well, it's there are organizations all across Major League Baseball that have received news like this, and for a lot of those organizations, it's been their #1 starter, whether it's Strasburg in Washington, Harvey in New York. A pair of guys go down for the Braves this year. DeSclafani to the plate. Marlon Byrd sends it out to center field. Ozuna makes the catch. And there's one out here in the 4th. This is a 3-game series with the Phils. Tomorrow, kids eat free. That's Wednesday night, every Wednesday night. Every child 12 and under with a ticket will get a coupon for a free KM Beef Frank, a bag of Frito-Lay chips, and a small Pepsi or Aquafina water. Get your tickets today at Marlins.com. Marlins and Phils tomorrow night.
Been a nice adjustment for Anthony DeSclafani. Remember, he threw 32 pitches in that first inning.
Ashe bounces it.
A couple of quick outs here. In innings 2 and 3, he threw 23 combined.
Eric into Verney. Disco looks very similar to Roy Oswalt with his motion. What do you think, Tommy Hutton?
It's smoother. It's cleaner. Oswalt had a very violent delivery when he delivered to the plate. He had good, great stuff. Tremendous career, but DeSclafani's is smoother.
There have been a lot of emails tonight about pitchers and pitch counts in the wake of Jose Fernandez. Nelson in Miami, seeing as how many young pitchers are getting hurt. How did pitchers in your day not get hurt, like Seaver, Carlton, Palmer, Gibson?
Well, that's one of those arguments. You're picking the few. There were guys who got hurt. They just didn't have Tommy John back then, and their careers were over.
All right, 8th pitch inning. We'll continue the discussion. DeSclafani has settled into this ball game, and it's 3-2 Miami. Baseball on Fox Sports Florida, brought to you by T-Mobile. Tuesday Night Baseball by Bluebell Ice Cream and by your South Florida Chevrolet dealer. In Miami tonight, the Marlins 1 run better than the Phillies so far. Into the bottom of the 4th, Eddie Echeverria, Anthony DeSclafani, and Christian Yelich come to the plate against A.J. Burnett. It's an email and Twitter Tuesday. And as I said, we've had a variety of emails about Tommy John surgery, and many have asked Tommy Hutton to weigh in on the fact that 20, 30, 40 years ago, and Carlton's name comes up a lot because you pitched, or you played while Carlton pitched as a Philly. Why were those guys immune to the severe?
Because they were the exception.
Okay.
The guys like that, every generation has the exception, and it also wasn't available. Tommy, now it may have been guys in that era that had a few good years, and all of a sudden you didn't see them anymore. That's because they had arm problems and their careers were over.
How hard did Carlton throw? What was his top velocity?
He wasn't blazing. He was more known for his slider.
Drive off the bat of Echeverria. Gwynn is there, and he makes the catch. That ball was hit well.
I would guess Carlton was low to mid-90s, but more known for that just lights-out disappearing slider that right-handed bats would swing over time after time after time.
There are no definites about the profile of players that are getting hurt and getting Tommy John surgery. Now, a good number of them are hard throwers and young, but there are guys like Randy Wolf sitting next to us in the Phillies broadcast booth. Jamie Moyer, he had Tommy John surgery, I want to say 3 years ago.
Certainly didn't light up radar guns.
No. So,
scoreboards, but not radar guns. I think one of the, there have been many, and you and I have read most of them, the articles about why are there so many. The one thing that keeps coming to my mind is that, number one, youth baseball has a lot to do with it. But also, there are more guys that throw hard, that throw 95 miles an hour and more.
Oh, without a doubt.
Than there were back then.
Without a doubt, and that's both in a starter and a reliever. It seems like everybody's bullpen. You can't be in a major league bullpen if you don't come out blazing in the mid-90s.
Yeah, if you don't have a trick pitch or sidearm delivery, most bullpens have guys coming out throwing mid to upper 90s.
And in your day, how many guys threw mid to upper 90s? One?
If you had a bullpen, yeah. You'd have other guys that had a good slider and good sinker come in for double plays.
Here is Yelich now. He's lined to left twice. He's had good swings against Burnett.
Had some fun looking back at Reed Cornelius's first start in the major leagues. It wasn't his first game. He was with the Mets, and he lost to the Reds. Yes, Ron Gant was in that lineup, and playing center field behind Reed Cornelius that day for the Mets, Brett Butler. Back in 1995, August 3.
And Ron Gant did steal home off of him?
Yes, he did.
Yelich gets a 2-0 pitch here from Burnett. Email from Trish. We love the theme song for Late Night with the Fish, but we don't know the name of the song. Can you please tell us the name, who wrote it, and when was it first broadcast? That's from Trish and Sonny Boy in Sunrise. That theme is sort of a mellow type Austin Powers type late night feel to it. I don't know the answer to that. I'll have to ask the crack staff. We're working on it. Maybe we could go to break just for Trish and Sonny Boy with
give the folks a little late night. A lot of people aren't able to stay up with us, and we understand that. It gives you a little feel.
Lenny Kravitz is fly away for Derek Dietrich.
4 walks and a hit batter tonight so far from A.J. Burnett. 2 of the walks each time Stanton. Each time he's been walked tonight, he's come in to score.
Some people have asked why we don't carry the walk-up songs on the air and just let everyone listen to the song while the player comes to the plate. That's because of rights issues. Jerry wants to know, does the time Jose Fernandez is on the disabled list? Runner goes, pitch is out, and a head-first slide. And in there is Christian Yelich with his 7th stolen base.
Usually when you steal and Chooch is behind the plate, you're stealing it off the pitcher. Good jump by Yelich. Look at that left hand. Outstretched on the bag before the tag.
Jerry wants to know, does the time on the disabled list count towards arbitration eligibility? When will he be eligible for arbitration? Yes, it does.
It does.
It counts as a major league service time. I don't have it on the tip of my tongue, nor do I have it in a note form, but give me a minute and I can probably find the second part of that question.
What the time is 3 years is arbitration eligible. Then there are certain players, Super 2 players, and I'm not sure the number of days for those guys.
1-1 coming. Dietrich blasts it center field deep. Back goes Gwynn, looking up, and he reaches and makes the catch. Say hey. Wow. Tony Gwynn Jr. over the shoulder, a Willie Mays type catch on the warning track. That's as good a play as you'll see. That's terrific.
That's off the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia.
To know exactly the theme music for Late Night with the Fish after coming off a West Coast trip. The site is called Killer Tracks, and we're still trying to run down the artist and the title. It is rights-free music for television, but it is very cool, and we're glad you like it.
Kind of gets us in a mood.
And this is Gwynn, contractually obligated to lead off the inning after making that running catch. He went a long ways.
What a great catch. I mean, concentration, speed, you have to have those two things. And unfortunately, Derek Dietrich was robbed. And so were the Marlins of another run.
Gwynn, A.J. Burnett, Jimmy Rollins here in the 5th inning. Anthony DeSclafani. 1-2 pitch misses outside. DeSclafani had a shaky first inning in which he threw 32 pitches, but then watched A.J. Burnett go out and throw one more pitch than he did.
Have we had many emails from Gainesville tonight?
Not yet. Well, you're reading the tweets. I've got the emails. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you've got any
Well,
tweets.
tweets are hard to tell where they're from.
Here's the 2-2. Will pop up. Shallow center. And Echeverria makes the catch. We'll check in with Allison Williams. Hey, Doug.
Well, Rich, social media can be used in several ways, and it's not always positive. But this is a story how social media can truly be used to spread good. Michael Collins was a senior at Illinois State, also a volunteer baseball coach in his hometown before he was tragically killed in an accident last month when he was killed by a drunk driver. Now, his friend created a Facebook page to encourage people to pay it forward for Michael Collins using the hashtag #MCStrong and wanted people to give back in his spirit. Well, it has literally swept the country. There's now been examples in 46 states, 15 different countries of people practicing random acts of kindness and then sharing it with the hashtag #MCStrong. Today would have been his 23rd birthday, so we wanted to give a shout out to everyone and encourage them to carry on his spirit with the hashtag #MCStrong.
Thank you, Allison. A.J. Burnett finds the gap and sends that one to the wall. Is going to end up with a double.
Well, of course, with the pitcher up there, you're not deep. You don't expect him to hit a ball that far. And A.J. Burnett crossed up everybody.
That's a great story by Allison. Burnett is at second. Top of the order, Rollins and Ruiz now.
So there are many, many good things that social media provides.
Osvaldo has an email, Tommy Hutton. Now that Jose Fernandez has joked about learning to pitch left-handed, it comes to mind that Max Lanier of the Cardinals, who won 108 games, right-handed, who broke his right arm twice, then learned to pitch left-handed, made it to the big leagues.
There was a pitcher by the name of Greg Harris, who I believe.
There were actually two pitchers by the name of Greg Harris.
Yeah, lefty and a righty, yeah. He was primarily right-handed. So it has been done.
Rollins has singled and bounced out. Burnett, the runner at second. Pitch is out. Brent in West Palm Beach. How do you see Miguel Tejada fitting in? Does this mean Rafael Furcal is done for the year?
Well, I think Furcal just continues to have setbacks. And in the case of a Miguel Tejada, it's a low-risk investment. And that's one of the reasons the club signed him.
Neither will be here tomorrow, by the way.
No. Tejada still serving a suspension and won't be ready until sometime in June.
Counts 3-1 to Rollins. DeSclafani trying to protect a one-run lead. Rollins to right. Stanton a long way to go, and it is gone. You just had the sense that a veteran like Rollins, who's a terrific fastball hitter, if he got enough of them, was going to get one he really liked. And a two-run shot. And a 4-3 Phillies lead.
Yeah, look where this fastball is. It's up. Jimmy Rollins hit one 340 feet for a two-run shot. Unfortunately, Derek Dietrich at 417 feet was caught. But a mistake pitch, and little Jimmy over 200 career home runs puts the Phillies ahead.
Ball and a strike to Ruiz, who was 0 for 2.
Jimmy Rollins now 205 career home runs.
McGee gets the out.
I think you and I, Rich, talked about this in Philadelphia. Another year or two for Jimmy Rollins. Will he be Hall of Fame worthy? With the MVP, the stolen bases, the power, the hits.
Marlins Live pregame brought to you by the South Florida Honda dealers. 9 questions for Jack McKeon. That should be entertaining. It sets up the Evaldi Kendrick matchup. Remember, Rollins 4 Gold Gloves as well. I think maybe another 2 or 3 productive years gets him closer.
It's going to be the all-time Phillies hit leader. By the way, I saw Jack McKeon tonight. He's in the house.
Did you ask him 9 questions?
I did not. Didn't have time. He did say he heard us talking about him the other night, though.
Notice he didn't say, I heard you. I heard you talking about me because it was at 1 in the morning.
Yeah,
Eastern
it was late.
time.
Someone mentioned it to him the next day. Said, Jack, it was all good stuff.
1-1 pitch, darts outside from DeSclafani. Tony has this question. Outside of the Fielders and the Griffeys, the best father-son combo to play in the major leagues. Center field.
How about
Ozuna.
Max and Hal Lanier?
Ozuna makes the catch. Jimmy Rollins, 2-run homer. Phillies on top.
Baseball, Phillies 4-3 lead over the Fish. Alan James Burnett pitching for the Phillies. We enjoyed covering him from 1999 to the mid-2000s. He once dropped an iron on his hand, ironing Blue Jays in his hotel in L.A., prompting his manager, John Bowles, to say, I don't think I've ever ironed blue jeans. It was okay, a little blister. But he's probably best remembered in terms of bizarre things he did as a Marlin for what he did to Billy the Marlin and nearly taking his head off, hitting a truck going around the old stadium, which it did 1 inning per ball game. And all year long, A.J. Burnett had his eyes set on trying to nail a window in a pickup truck. Mike Redman, the manager, is the catcher.
Time options.
And A.J. misses the driver, misses Billy the Marlin. Watch the framing here. Redman knew it was coming and tried to make it look like it just got away. Because what Red told me today, which I didn't remember, guys, is that A.J. had tried all year long. He hit the bumper a couple of times. He hit the fender. He once clipped a ground screw guy on a bounce. So it was coming all year long, and Red knew, uh-oh, here it comes again. The truck's coming around, and he nailed it.
And that lives on the 10-run reel.
And it deservedly so. Might be right up top.
Stanton at the plate, 1-1 pitch, a swing and a miss. Burnett now has the lead in this ball game, though he has walked Stanton twice. And Giancarlo has scored twice.
Well, the Marlins saw Josh Beckett in L.A. who's pitching tonight, by the way, against the Mets.
Stan hits a high fly ball right field. Bird is looking for it, and he finds it and makes the catch. We had an email outside of the fielders and the Griffeys, Beth's father-son combo. John Chimchuk is our baseball historian. He says Barry and Bobby Bonds.
Not too bad right there.
Bring on the gecko. It's our Geico quote of the night. Casey McGee. You try to do too much and you're going to have a rough night. On his success at the plate, minus home runs, and he drove in a run with a single in the first. 29 RBIs, and the batting average is climbing up towards 500 with runners in scoring position this year.
Parker with an appropriate question, wanting to know how many home runs now has Jimmy Rollins hit against the Marlins in his career. Well, the one he just hit, number 25.
Utley makes the play. So 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th. Phillies and Marlins wrap up the series, and Thursday's an afternoon game, a 12:40 ball game. Head to your local Subway restaurant, get a voucher, just a $5 ticket. Seniors 55 and older can receive free tickets on Senior Free Ticket Thursday, presented by Wellmax Medical Centers. Go to marlins.com. Here's Jones. He's got 2 hits. And a breaking ball misses outside. Rick from South Dakota wants to know, how has Jake Marisnick been doing this year? Marisnick got off to an awful start in New Orleans. He hit 182 in April. He's having a much better May. He's hitting over 300, 305 in May. And of course, Marisnick, part of the trade that brought Anthony DeSclafani and a whole lot of others from the Toronto organization down to the Marlins. Danny Echeverria, Henderson Alvarez, Jeff Mathis, left-handed pitcher Justin Nicolino, who is in Jacksonville, has made 9 starts. Nicolino 2-2 with a 3.88 ERA. And don't forget Derek Dietrich, because the Marlins in that trade had to take Yunel Escobar off the Blue Jays' hands and immediately flipped him to the Rays for Dietrich.
That's why we've talked about it this year, Rich. You talk about that mixing in those players, and then adding a Garrett Jones, adding a Jeff Baker, a Reed Johnson, a Saltalamacchia.
Down goes Jones. And a 1-2-3 inning for A.J. Burnett. And in Miami tonight, that Jimmy Rollins homer, a 2-run shot. The difference in this ball game right now, Phillies and Marlins opening a 3-game set. A cast of many tonight. Allison Williams, Jeff Conine, Craig Minervini, Tommy Hutton. I'm Rich Waltz. John Sulzer is our producer. Jim Holly, our director. Ken Lee, our graphics coordinator. Ryan Howard is the hitter. He takes a strike. Howard, Marlon Byrd, Cody Ashe in the 6th.
And certainly one of the hitters the Marlins put the big shift on. They always have with Ryan Howard. We're going to get a lot of combinations. Some we'll forget, but we'll throw these in about father-sons. How about the Boones and the Alous? Pretty good, too.
Copyrighted telecast presented by the authority. The Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins.
You, Rich, on an off day, just read that. You're sitting at home, maybe watching the game, or just sitting at home, watching something else.
Actually, there are nights where I wake up in a cold sweat. Fearful that I have not received express written consent from the commissioner's office or whoever else has to sign off. South Florida Lexus standings. Atlanta coming in at 24-19. The Marlins 2 games off that pace. Braves winners last night. Did you see Lyle Overbay pitching last night?
I read an article about the number of position players over the last few years.
That's a fair ball down the line by McGee into the corner. Yelich there to collect it. And Marlon Byrd has got a double, a 1-out double here in the 6th.
It's a disturbing number because you have so many pitchers nowadays pitching an inning, and all of a sudden managers get caught in extra innings. They get in trouble for a high-scoring game. Marlon Byrd's done that for a long time. Base hit, veteran players, always had that compact swing. Right now, called to the bullpen because it's a 1-run game. You just don't want to let the Phillies extend it more. So Brad Hand starts to get loose. Yeah, Overbay. Drew Butera's done it a couple of times. Marlins saw him out of the bullpen in L.A. Well, here comes Mike Redmond now.
Cody Ashe has had 2 looks at DeSclafani. You've got Ashe, Brown, and Gwynn, all left-handed bats lined up. And in a 1-run game in the 6th inning, Mike Redmond is going to head to the bullpen. He's not going to mess around. He wants the lefty. There's a trio of lefties scheduled for the Phillies. Let's see if Ryan Sandberg will counter. Lineups with left-handed bats against Anthony DeSclafani. Toyota trend today in Major League Baseball. 2014 Marlins are the first team 12 games over 500 at home and 11 games under 500 on the road after 45 games. That's in Major League Baseball history. It's amazing. Marlins come into this ball game at 6-17 on the road and 17-5 at home.
That's pretty incredible. It's a tough number to stay up with that 17-5 run.
Now Ashe, and Hand's job is to come in, get Ashe. If it's Brown, get Brown. If it's Gwynn, get Gwynn.
On the other hand, Rich, you don't expect the Marlins to play as poorly on the road. You expect their road record to get a little bit better.
Breaking ball misses in. Speaking of left-handed bats, did you see who was in the lineup last night for the Washington Nationals?
I did.
With a couple of hits. Greg Dobbs was at first base. Dobbs been called up by the Nationals. He swung the bat well. I saw a little bit of that game last night.
Had 2 hits, 2 for 7, 15-inning game. So good to have the Dobber back in the big leagues. Guy who also had some success with the Phillies too.
Reds won that game in extras last night, but Washington is up 9-1 in the bottom of the 6th tonight. Here, a Jimmy Rollins 2-run homer has brought the Phillies up by 1. Brad Hand against Cody Ashe. Braves are at home and pounding Milwaukee 5-0. While Overbay pitched last night for Milwaukee, they may need him tonight. That's going into the 6th. The odd thing about that, it was a 6-run game. It was 9-3.
Not like a total blowout. Speaking of poundings, the Nationals are putting a pounding on Johnny Cueto and the Reds.
Breaking ball in. Ashe walks. Saturday's a full day of Major League action, beginning with the Rangers and the Tigers on Fox Sports 1. And it's the season premiere of Baseball Night in America on Fox. Cardinals and Reds, Royals and Angels, Nationals and Pirates. Major League Baseball doubleheader begins Saturday 3:30 Eastern on Fox Sports 1 and then continues at 7 Eastern on Fox. So Ashe has walked. Brown swings and fouls it back. Well, Mike Revin has the matchup that he wants. He's got Brad Hand and he's got the Philly left-handed bats. (0-2). Brown has singled and flied out.
Dominic Brown, a little bit of a puzzle to the Phillies. Of course, last year he had that great first half. He made the All-Star team. Had 23 home runs before the All-Star break. After the All-Star break, he had 4. Now you put that second half with so far this year. And I guess if you're a Philly fan, you're scratching your head. You're saying, which Dominic Brown do we have here?
Well, for Brown, that first half was enough to get him into the All-Star game. Played 139 games total, the most he's ever appeared in his Major League career. One-two coming. in the dirt, and it bounces off of Saltalamacchia, and everybody moves up. The shot at a double play is lost.
Well, that's what's frustrating for a manager. You get that situation that you can manage to, where you see that the other team has 3 left-handers coming up, and you make the move, and all of a sudden Brad Hand is struggling. He walked Cody Ashe. He's thrown a wild pitch, as you said, to take that double play away, and the count's 2-2 to Brown.
Infield in. And now it's 3-2.
He's having trouble getting his secondary stuff over, so he knows that he's got to go to the fastball. Brown knows that too.
Fouled off of Saltalamacchia. We were waiting for an email from Gainesville. We've got one. It's from Jeff. Go Gators. Congratulations to former Gator Anthony DeSclafani on his first Major League win against the Dodgers. But not tonight. I remember Connie Mack Stadium at 20th and Lehigh, where Pancho Herrera was the first baseman and Gene Freeze at third. And Jimmy earns a case of tasty cakes for that home run. Swing and a miss. Hand strikes out Dominic Brown.
Good comeback, good pitch by Brad Hand to get Brown. Now he gets to deal with another left-handed bat. He went with that fastball. He had to. And you have to wonder about his confidence in the changeup or curveball with runners at second and third. You don't want a wild pitch and let the Phillies get another run.
You got Quinn who can run, but he's 0 for 2, and he is not having the best of years at the plate. And the Marlins are just going to flat out walk him. Burnett is on deck. Phillies bullpen has stirred. And we'll see if
you got a feeling that Sandberg may pinch hit for A.J. Burnett.
Absolutely.
So this is a matchup that you want, the lefty against the lefty.
And Burnett's thrown 96 pitches. And so he's coming out of the ball game, and the Phils are going to pinch hit for him.
And the Marlins don't have a right-hander warming up in the bullpen. Just the left-hander, Randy Wolf.
So Mayberry will come up. And Burnett's night is done, though he does leave with the lead and is in position to get the win. Throws 96 pitches in 5 innings.
Now, speaking of father-sons that have had a little success in the major leagues, the Mayberries.
John's father, a left-handed slugger with the Kansas City Royals.
255 career home runs. Big John Mayberry. Different type player. His son, right-handed hitter, an outfielder.
And a ground ball into left field, a base hit. Bird will score. And Ashe comes across as well. That's the gamble you take.
That's a gamble. Still shaking my head.
By walking Gwynn, a 185 hitter, to get to Burnett. The matchup became a right-handed hitter in Mayberry against Hand.
In Mike Redmond's mind, he must have felt that Hand would have better success against the right-handed bat of Mayberry than the weak-hitting left-handed bat under 200 average of Tony Gwynn Jr.
Mayberry now 4 for 9 with 7 RBIs as a pinch hitter this year. He's So Mayberry's had a terrific year as a pinch hitter. Here's Rollins, and he takes a strike. And the Phils' lead is now 6-3. Rollins, a big swing in the 5th. A 2-run homer against DeSclafani. AT&T U-verse rewind. High fastball, and Rollins didn't miss it. Now Hand has gone 3-1. The other thing, by pitching to Gwynn, you also had a base open. So if you're Hand and you pitched to him and you lost him, then the turn of events, and then Mayberry probably comes up.
Yeah, I don't think there was ever a probably with Mayberry, with 96 pitches having been thrown by A.J. Burnett.
Well, he was obviously ready in the dugout. So now the bags are loaded, and Hand is going to have to face Carlos Ruiz. Wolf is ready in the bullpen, but that's another lefty, and you've got Ruiz, who is 0 for 3 in the ball game.
This has been that area that has troubled the Marlins. You get to the back end of the bullpen, okay. This has been that area that you're not sure what you're going to get.
Ruiz, who had the great finish to the month of April, he was actually a player of the week in the National League. He's a career .292 average with runners in scoring position.
Usually don't see him this part of the order. It's the 7th time this year he's batted second.
And he always has had a real nice on-base percentage, a good eye at the plate, which is not a good combination for Hand, who was struggling with control.
And a great nickname in Chooch.
Bases filled with Phillies, Gwynn, Mayberry, and Rollins. Liner, center field. Ozuna's there, and he makes the catch. But the Phillies add 2 and stretch their lead to 6-3. touched upon the Mayberries. His father, a left-handed slugger. John with a big 2-run single in this one to stretch the lead to 6-3. Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Frost Brew Coors Light. This date in 2006, Barry Bonds hit his 714th home run to tie Babe Ruth, second all-time. Giants beat the A's in Oakland.
I think some young folks don't realize, too, the terrific player that Bobby Bonds was. Bobby Bonds was one of the original leadoff guys that could get you that quick home run. Power, speed, 30-30 guy.
We ran into a lot of legends in San Francisco. We saw Willie McCovey. We actually had a chance to greet and chat with Willie Mays. But Barry Bonds was there as well. Jared Saltalamacchia, and it's Jake Diekman who takes over on the mound for the Phils. Saltalamacchia, Ozuna, and Echeverria. An odd turn of events in the top of the inning. The Marlins intentionally walking Tony Gwynn Jr. And what they got is the Phil's best pinch hitter, and he did what he's been doing all year. He drove in 2 in 9 pinch hit at bats. Mayberry now has 7 pinch hit runs driven in. Diekman promptly goes 3-0 to Saltalamacchia. So Burnett and DeSclafani's night, both of them done. Burnett in line for the win now. 5 innings, 3 hits, 3 runs, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts for AJ. DeSclafani in his second major league start, 5 1/3, 6 hits, 5 runs, all earned a walk and 2 strikeouts. Burnett through 96. DeSclafani through 89. Saltalamacchia swings and misses. It's been a tough night for Saltalamacchia. Bases loaded, 1 out in the first. He struck out swinging. Runner at third, 1 out in the third. He struck out swinging. Both those at bats against Burnett. Low and inside, leadoff walk. It's an email Twitter Tuesday. Here's how to find us tonight. On Twitter or Instagram at Fox Marlins. You can email us at foxmarlins@gmail.com. foxmarlins@gmail.com. We'll get as many in as we can. It's been a ball game with a lot of twists and turns. Stevie Ray is a day early but wants to wish Ed Lucas a happy birthday on Twitter Tuesday. Marcell Ozuna's lined out and had a bases loaded walk.
We'll have to remember that tomorrow night. Ed Lucas turns 32.
Jay wants to know which Marlins player you think is having the best month of May so far.
Well, you gotta think Giancarlo's at the top of that list, hitting over 400, on base over 500.
Or if you took Stanton out of it, who's
was that in the email?
No, I'm just trying to drive conversation here.
How about Garrett Jones?
That's a good call. Jones has had a big night tonight. He's 2 for 3 with an RBI double. Boy, Diekman at 97 miles an hour has a live arm out of Phillies bullpen.
Had a tweet earlier from Chase. Wanted to know, does Yelich have a nickname? Yeah, most of the guys call him Yelly.
Does that qualify as a nickname?
Yeah.
Echeverria. It's a swing, and it's 0-1.
Hard to camouflage that one.
Well, if you're gearing up to get to 97 and you get an off-speed pitch, it's really hard to gear down. But that's 97 on your hands, too. Jeff Baker is on deck. Oh-2 pitch. Echeverria steps out. Ruiz is on his way out. If you're just joining us, the Phils have a 6-3 lead here in Miami against the Marlins in the bottom of the sixth in a first inning that took almost 40 minutes to play. Neither A.J. Burnett nor Anthony DeSclafani had their control, and the two teams emerged from the first tie at 2. Pitches out. Marlins then took a 3-2 lead on the Jones RBI double. But Rollins had a 2-run homer in the 5th, and then when the Marlins pitched around Gwynn to get to Burnett, Ryan Sandberg simply plugged in John Mayberry, and he knocked in 2 with a pinch hit single.
Yeah, he didn't pitch around him. They walked him intentionally.
Strike 3 call. Mike Redmond is on his way out.
I think he got tossed because you can't question balls and strikes, so now he's just going to get his money's worth. And he should, because it's been a rough night for Will Little.
Well, there it is, pitch number 4. Redmond going to get his money's worth. Kick some dirt.
This is good. Red giving us a little Lou Piniella.
Managers don't get to do this much anymore, do they?
They've had too many social calls.
And so Redmond gets his money's worth and is on his way out. Miami still has a runner at first, and here comes Baker. Here's the pitch. The reaction to Echeverria was one to jump out of the way. The pitch is borderline. But obviously Redmond's not in a real good mood after watching that top of the 6th blow up. And here is Baker. Diekman gets a strike, and it's 0-1.
Well, there's some guys in that Philly dugout that know where Redmond's coming from. Ryan Sandberg one, A.J. Burnett another, because it's been that kind of night for Will Little, the umpire.
Another strike. That's 0-2. That was a strike. It was.
See, now a fan can question that and not get tossed.
As long as he doesn't come out to the plate and argue. Baker lines it foul. And it stays at 0-2. Diekman has been hot lately. Last 7 appearances have been scoreless. He didn't start the season out well at all. His ERA was at 7.30 before he started that run. And of the last 54 outs he's recorded, 29 have been strikeouts. Baker taps it back to the mound. And a flip to first, and Diekman dispatches with the Marlins and with Mike Redmond in the 6th. the Marlins. Marlins and Brewers. Friday night opens the series with the Brewers. It's a fireworks Friday. Celebrate Teachers Appreciation Night at the ballpark. Stay in your seats after the game for an incredible fireworks display presented by Lexus. Go to marlins.com for tickets.
Well, as they say, what goes around comes around. Randy Wolf, who was originally drafted by the Phillies in the second round, 1997, spent the first 7-8 years of his career pitching for Philadelphia.
I'm telling you, Tommy, right now there's 10 to a dozen people in Philadelphia that are scrambling through their closet trying to find the Wolf Pack outfits that they used to wear every time Randy Wolf started as a Philly.
And at the Veterans Stadium, they'd be way up there, the upper deck in right field. So the 37-year-old goes after his former team. Hey, he had some double figure. He had 4 years in a row where he won double figures in games, 10 or more wins. 16 wins in 03 for Randy Wolf as a Philly.
Here is Chase Utley. I had a chance to talk to Randy Wolf today, and the subject was Tommy John surgery. And remember, on Sunday we wondered what the difference was between his first and his second surgeries, because he went 7 years between surgeries, 05 and 2012. And he said the procedure is pretty much the same. What's different now, he said, is the rehab. The protocol, the rehab has improved. They're a little better, he said, at knowing exactly timeline and which exercises. And if he had any advice, and he did talk to Jose briefly, and said, hey, any questions you've got, just come to me. The one thing he said when coming back from Tommy John surgery is don't rush it. Don't get out in front of yourself in terms of the rehab. Don't try to get back too soon and do too much.
That'll probably be the hardest thing for Jose Fernandez. He has youth on his side. He's just going to want to get back, but in everybody we've talked to, you've got to go through the process.
Wolf misses outside. The count's 2-2. You've got Utley, Howard, and Bird in the seventh. Utley 0 for 2 tonight. The damage for the Phils is at the top and the bottom of the order. Rollins at the top, 2-run homer. Mayberry pinch hitting in the 9th spot, a 2-run single. Howard did have an RBI double from that 4 spot.
Got some guys who have had a track record. Of course, when you're 37, you pitch as long as Randy Wolf. You've faced a lot of these guys.
Jonathan tweets in, just wanted to point out that it's also Jacob Turner's birthday tomorrow. Ed Lucas and Jacob Turner share a birthday.
That's right. We talked about that in San Francisco when Jacob was pitching.
Jacob will turn 23. Ed will turn 43. Breaking ball, ground ball. 32, right?
32.
Wolf is there at first base. Tommy John surgery has been the topic, and a lot of questions, emails about it. You go back to some of the real hard throwers, Steven Strasburg, Matt Harvey. Harvey today saying that he wants to get back and pitch this year. Chris Medlin's had a couple of them.
As has Beachy.
And Patrick Corbin was a real blow to the Diamondbacks. And of course, like Medlin and Beachy, Wolf with 2 surgeries. Here's Howard.
Just had something come to my mind on that put out at first base. I know I get all kinds of arguments from serious baseball people. But Randy Wolf wasn't in spring training with the Marlins. He didn't work with Garrett Jones at PFP and covering first base. There are a couple of guys that have been around, no problem. And how much time sometimes is wasted in spring training? Pitchers covering first base.
I would counter that with this. I think what they
I'm
should.
sure there's a counter.
I would do 10 minutes of PFP, and the guys that could do it, hey, go throw.
Go work on your bunting.
But you guys that didn't do it real well, we're going to work on it some more.
I like that.
But, I mean, seriously. I mean, if you can do it, it's not a deal where, hey, I can only work with one first baseman. Because think about it, a first baseman works with all the different pitchers.
That's right.
Some guys do it well, some guys don't. Take the guys that do it well and send them on to the next drill. And the guys that don't,
say, okay, you guys have passed this course.
That's right.
Move on.
It's like getting your driver's license. Three-two. Swing and a miss. Randy Wolf with a fastball, 87 miles an hour, getting it by Ryan Howard.
Now, the guy that has given him a lot of trouble, that fastball away, is Marlon Byrd. Marlon Byrd is 5 for 16, has 5 career hits against Randy Wolf. 3 of them are home runs.
Marlins Country Radio asking Allison and all of us, how do the Marlins get themselves one of those social media rooms that we saw in San Francisco, which was out in center field and was pretty darn cool. We didn't go out there, but we did see Allison out there.
Yeah,
Allie,
it was cool.
Where would you put that in Marlins Park? And would you like one to have as your own little toy?
Absolutely. That thing, it was impressive. First of all, it was like an internet-based cafe. So they had a coffee cafe place out there. And they had like 4 computers, 8 TV screens. I'd take that in a heartbeat.
And
I don't know where you put it, though.
A giant touchscreen as well. Impressive stuff. Randy Wolf settles things down. It's still 6-3 Phillies. Seventh. Let's go down to Allison Williams.
Well, Rich, when the Angels were in Philadelphia to play the Phillies, Citizens Bank Park actually had a Millville night. It's the home of Mike Trout, Millville, New Jersey. Hundreds of people bust over to watch their hometown hero play. And how can you not love Trout, especially when he did one of this for his fan from New Jersey? Tim couldn't exactly muster up the courage to ask a girl to prom, so he tweeted Mike Trout, and Mike Trout reached out to Emily, said, "Hey, Emily, your boy Tim is too shy to ask you, so I thought I would help him out. Will you go to prom with him?" Of course, Emily says yes. How do you say no to Mike Trout? So Tim got his date to the prom. Mike Trout happy to help out, and he did a cute Instagram picture. I don't know when these elaborate prom asks started, because I definitely didn't have one of these, but Emily later Instagrammed a picture of red balloons that spelled out prom when Tim officially asked her on his own after the help of Mike Trout, and he knew that he had the yes. So pretty cute of Mike to help out a kid from New Jersey get his date to the prom.
Wait a minute. You didn't go to your prom?
I went to my prom, but I didn't have an elaborate ask. It wasn't a big to-do. It was a nervous kid in a hallway will you go to prom with me? Yeah, that's it. You don't get Mike Trout and red balloons and all that. Not that I'm bitter. I sound a little bitter right now.
That's all right. Christian Yelich bounces out. That's the first out of the bottom of the 7th.
Hey, the numbers I heard, Millville, New Jersey, south of Philadelphia on the way toward Atlantic City. Population about 24,000. And the number I read was that a little over 8,000 attended that game, that first game of that series, the mayor included. So, yeah, it was quite a night.
That's pretty cool. Here's Derek Dietrich. As long as we're giving shout-outs, this is from Paul. My son is shipping out to Fort Bliss, Texas in the morning with the Army. I'm not sure how many Marlin games we get to see out there. He and I are regular Marlin watchers and rarely miss a game. Can you give Daniel a shout-out? Good luck, Daniel.
And a hoo-ha.
And thanks for serving as well. Paul adds, I liked seeing the fire out of Mike Redmond.
I think a lot of people like to see that from a manager.
An email from Norm. A strike to Dietrich. I see Mike Redmond has a bit of a temper. Isn't he an all-around great guy? And Norm says he's actually Mike's father-in-law. We'll be watching up in the Northwest on the Major League Extra Innings or on the At-Bat app. Diekman strikes out Dietrich.
Sometimes you can just take it so much.
Dixie. 2 questions. Why are all outfields not a set distance? And why aren't camera angles consistent for every park for TV? We love the straight-on shot of the mound at Marlins Park versus the offset of some others. It's easier to call balls and strikes on the sofa.
I guess a lot of that is because of the construction of some of the ballparks, or just aren't able to put that camera in straightaway center.
And all ballpark distances aren't the same because the footprints they're built on are all unique. Popped up. Stanton sends it towards the seats. Howard backing up, makes the catch. Jake Diekman, impressive. Works a 1-2-3-7.
Well, it was a struggle in that first inning for Anthony DeSclafani. A big base hit by Ryan Howard. Marlon Byrd with a ground ball out. Just like that, the Phillies had a 2-0 lead, but the Marlins came back quickly. Over 450 runners in scoring position. Casey McGee with a base hit, a bases loaded walk. Just like that, it was 2-2. Marlins took the lead. Garrett Jones with a double down the right field line, scoring Stanton. But in the 5th inning, a high fastball, and Jimmy Rollins, his 25th career home run against the Marlins, made it a 1-run game. Then a pinch hit, man-hop single off the bat of John Mayberry, put the Phillies up even more, and it's 6-3 Philadelphia right now.
Randy Wolf into his 2nd inning in relief. Wolf taking over for Brad Hand. It was Hand that gave up that pinch hit 2-run single to John Mayberry. Hand came in and tried to bail DeSclafani out of the 6th. Cody Ashe is 0 for 2. You got Dominic Brown and Tony Gwynn. This was the trio of lefties that prompted Mike Redmond to go get Brad Hand. And I think the biggest at bat in that outside of Mayberry's 2-run single was the walk to Ashe, the first lefty. That accelerated the process. Brown struck out, and then the Marlins elected to intentionally walk Gwynn. Phillies countered with the Mayberry in the pitcher spot, and that's how we've arrived at 6-3. Wolf misses up. If you've lost track of Randy Wolf, and this is the first time you've seen him, whether you're a Phillies fan or a Marlins fan, Wolf undergoing Tommy John surgery in 2012, missed 2013, went to camp with Seattle and pitched really well, made the roster and was in Seattle's rotation. But after he was told he made the team, Seattle went to him and asked him to change the terms of the contract they agreed to going into spring training. And Wolf didn't like that and walked away. Seattle wanted a provision that if Wolf did not perform well, they could release him without having to pay him the full year.
But they weren't up front with that provision at the beginning of spring training when he signed.
Hashtag FL fan photo is a chance to show up on the telecast, and you don't even have to wear a coat and tie like Tommy and I. Here's the AT&T fan photo of the game. Look at that. Yoandy and friend. That's a slick photo, and it looks like they played with all the gadgets on the iPhone to get
that looks
cool
like
look.
A professional photo.
Ashe's at first, and Brown takes a breaking ball outside. Towards the line, Yelich, and he's there but can't make the catch. It's a foul ball. Long way to go, and Yelich got a glove on it, couldn't hold it.
Still a couple innings left in this one, but after all the good things we saw from a few earlier homestands, haven't seen a lot of them tonight.
It all starts with the guy on the mound. And while the focus has been on offense with home versus road, the pitching splits are dramatically different as well. The Marlins have pitched much better at home than they have on the road. And did not get a great start from DeSclafani. 5 runs and 5 1/3. Elsewhere in the division, the Dodgers have taken a 6-4 lead over the Mets in New York. That's top 7 right now. Atlanta 5-0 over Milwaukee, bottom 8. The Braves are heating up again. They're 5 over. And they're 3 outs away from beating the Brewers for the second straight night. McKee. Discussion at the start of the night. Home road splits. Miami best in the big leagues at 17-5. On the road, worst in the big leagues at 6-17. And as I mentioned, the focus is on runs, and certainly that's a huge disparity over 2 runs. But look at the ERA. That's over 2 runs as well. The opposite direction. And that's not a good thing.
Yeah, that's pretty telling, those 2 columns.
To center, Ozuna is there, and he makes the catch. So a couple outs, and Randy Wolf. Cesar Hernandez is coming up. Now the Philly players, every time they come to the plate, their picture goes up on the scoreboard. But Tommy, if you notice behind Hernandez, it's Geno's Steaks, the best.
Now I wonder if you're a Philly player, if you get to choose.
No, you don't get Pats.
You don't get Pats.
You don't get Jim's. But Geno's has got the cool building.
You don't get Tony Luke's.
Got neon, and I think it fits right in.
By the way, got a nice tweet from the folks at St. Thomas University. Remember Allison talked to the Bobcats, the coach, and the girls softball team? 2014 Sun Conference softball champs.
It's in Southern California, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a great photo of Allison interviewing them in the stands and saying thanks. We had a great time cheering on the Fish in L.A.
Hernandez swings and misses. Wolf, a nice couple innings, scoreless innings. Bottom of the 8th, 6-3 Phils. Bottom 8. Phillies bullpen very good. Jake Diekman just put 2 scoreless innings in the books. Didn't give up a hit or a run. Walked 1 and struck out 3.
There's a veteran right-hander who, when the Marlins were in Philadelphia, Mike Adams was on the disabled list. So they're happy to have him back in that bullpen, back healthy, to add on at the tail end of things. Good sink, good cutters.
It's a frustrating night for Miami for a lot of reasons. Casey McGee is up. The Marlins had opportunities to add runs in the first and in the fifth. A.J. Burnett was able to punch out Jared Saltalamacchia on a couple of occasions. Mike Redmond has been ejected by home plate umpire Will Little after he rung up Adeiny Echeverria on strikes in the sixth. So it's McGee, Jones, and Saltalamacchia, and Miami's 3 down in the bottom of the 8th. Marlins will see the Milwaukee Brewers this coming weekend. They might not see Giovanni Gallardo. He came out of the game tonight after suffering an apparent left leg injury while trying to field the chopper. He missed the ball and landed awkwardly on the front slope of the mound. A significant limp following the play.
One guy we know we will see tomorrow night, Kyle Kendrick, pitches against Nathan Eovaldi in the second game of this series.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. And it's in. The other news about pitchers, if you're a Phillies fan, this is of concern. Cliff Lee underwent an MRI on his left elbow in Philly. Results of the MRI unknown prior to tonight's game in Miami. Tenderness in the elbow. Apparently he'd been pitching with some elbow tenderness for about 3 weeks, according to General Manager Ruben Amaro Jr. He's been able to pitch through it. His last couple of innings on Sunday, the pain increased.
And he's the kind of guy that for Ryan Sandberg and the Phillies generally goes deep into games.
It will not affect this series. Lee not scheduled to pitch against Miami. Breaking ball, McGee lays off of it. The Marlins and the Phillies have 2 more left in this series. Kyle Kendrick and Nathan Eovaldi tomorrow, and then Henderson Alvarez, Cole Hamels, a really nice pitching matchup on Thursday. Tom Kohler, Marco Estrada are scheduled to open the Brewers series, and Gallardo is penciled in on Sunday against DeSclafani. McGee walks.
That's some crazy numbers for Casey McGee. Talked about with the men in scoring position. With men on base, he's a .415 hitter. 450 or 435 runners in scoring position. With nobody on base, his batting average is below 200. But he had a good at bat there and drew the walk.
We got 2 innings to make up 3 runs if you're Miami. Jones with Saltalamacchia to follow.
And the last time the Marlins got a base hit was Garrett Jones's double in the 3rd inning. So the Marlins have not gotten a base hit since that Jones 3rd inning double.
Jones swings at a pitch in the dirt. He obviously wasn't looking breaking ball. And
that's yeah, I'm thinking he's going to start me with fastball. He didn't get it.
Jones 2 hits, RBI double and a single. Pitch in the dirt. A bizarre story involving a former Marlin in Albuquerque. Miguel Olivo in a fight with the Cuban infield prospect Alex Guerrero, who required plastic surgery on Tuesday because his left ear was bitten by Olivo. They were involved in a fight in the dugout. Teammates. That game actually was in Salt Lake City.
Pulling a Mike Tyson.
How can you get a fight in Salt Lake City? It's such a peaceful place.
It's a great place. Olivo obviously still upset at being sent down.
Dodger General Manager Ned Colletti confirmed the players were involved, and he thinks that both will be able to play without confirming the extent of the injury. Jones fouls it back. Breaking ball, that's a fair ball. Down the corner it goes again. McGee headed for third. Jones has got another double. They'll hold McGee at third. And all of a sudden Miami has second and third and nobody out here in the 8th inning. What a night for Garrett Jones. 2 doubles, a 3-for-4 night.
He battled too. Remember how badly he looked on that first breaking ball from Adams? He hung in there, he fouled off some fastballs, got that breaking ball again, a little better hittable spot, and stung it past Howard for his second double. So good hitting by Garrett Jones.
Saltalamacchia now. For Saltalamacchia, he struck out in the first, the bases loaded and 1 out. He struck out in the third with a runner at third and 1 out. He walked in the 6th. Adams misses outside. There was an earlier email wanting to know if Anthony DeSclafani and Jared Saltalamacchia have the longest combined names of battery mates in Major League history. Our friends at Stats Research have come up with 2 longer, and it does involve Saltalamacchia. John Reinecker, R-H-E-I-N-E-C-K-E-R, and Jared Saltalamacchia, battery mates for 1 game, 07 with the Rangers. Combined 24 letters in their last names. 2-0 pitch.
Boy, 2-0 breaking ball. Big curveball from Adams.
Pitch was in. It's 2-1. McGee and Jones awaiting this 2-1 pitch, as is Saltalamacchia. Sends a pop-up towards the wall, and it's missed, flat out missed by Ashe.
Well, you don't know what a good feeling that is as a hitter. I mean, you're Saltalamacchia right there. You're thinking you didn't do it again. And Ashe gives him a reprieve, because you think about this at bat. Even a ground ball to the right side gets a run in and moves Jones over to third. And then you still have a runner at third with 1 out.
Two. Into right field, base hit. McGee scores. Jones will stop, and Saltalamacchia comes through, and that's got to feel good.
Oh yeah,
for Salty.
It feels good for Salty and bad for Ashe, who dropped that tough play. But yeah, a ground ball to the right side. How about a ground ball base hit through the right side? That's even better.
And it's 6-4 now. Here comes Ozuna.
So he stayed with it, got down on that pitch, and found a nice hole over there on the right side.
Now Ozuna. So the tying run is at first base. Phillies infield is converging on the mound.
given Cody Ashe an error. It's a tough error. It's not a routine pop fly to go as far as he had to go. But as of now, they've given the Philly third baseman Cody Ashe an error.
Antonio Bastardo in the bullpen. Ozuna got an RBI with a bases loaded walk. He had a liner into center in the third and then struck out in the sixth. The count is 0-1.
Marlins have done a pretty good job in cashing in on walks. Stanton walked twice. He scored each time. The leadoff walk in this inning to Casey McGee. He came in to score.
Philly infield playing for two. And Adams obviously looking for a punch out now. Ozuna, runner at third, less than 2 outs. Major League average is 51%. And Ozuna has knocked him in 7 out of 10 times. One and two. Miami has a run, but down by 2. And Ozuna strikes out. Here comes Echeverria.
Boy, the opportunities just continue to go by. And these are, again, when you play teams that are veteran teams, such as the Phillies, you just can't let too many of them slip by.
Now you've got the 2 veterans up the middle, Utley and Rollins, just aching for a ground ball to get out of this inning. Jones is at third. Saltalamacchia is at first. And Echeverria on an 0 for 3 night. Adams catches a corner and a strike. It's 0-1. Reed Johnson is on deck. Oh, and 2. Even with the infield back in the Ozuna at bat, a ground ball may have cost 2 outs, but it would have provided the inning's second run. Here, Adams is 0-2 on Echeverria. And he got him. Wow. So a pair of strikeouts, and now Reed Johnson up with 2 outs.
We had those opportunities early in the game, runner at third, less than 2 out, and 2 opportunities here in this inning. You put all that together, the Marlins trail just by 2.
Now Johnson. Johnson had a real nice road trip. 9 hits on the trip. It was after a hanging breaking ball, fouls it back.
I tell you, when he goes up there, he's usually pretty aggressive. And Reed Johnson, when he sees that hanger, he doesn't hesitate. He just missed it, fouled it straight back, had a good rip.
The Marlins have the bullpen up in a 2-run ball game, still at the corners, and they've been there for the last 2 strikeouts. Johnson, a chopper to third. Ashe goes to second to get the out, and the Marlins let the Phillies off the hook in the 8th. Get just 1 run and trail it 6-4. Out of that bottom of the 8th, they have work to do, obviously, in the 9th. You can follow the Marlins and your favorite Major League teams with the MLB.com at bat for your iPhone, iPad, Android, BlackBerry 10, or Windows Phone 8. Get scores, stats, highlights, live audio, and more. Text at bat to 31826 or visit Marlins.com for details. A.J. Ramos.
No, Ramos gets the call. A.J. gets the top of the order for the Phillies with Rollins, Ruiz, and Utley.
And the Marlins will have the top of their order up in the 9th with Yelich, Dietrich, and Stanton. But Jonathan Papelbon is getting loose.
Yeah, you and I talked with Bob McClure, pitching coach for the Phillies. He said Papelbon is a success this year. He's kind of had opportunities where he hasn't had to go 2-3 days in a row. He's been able to rest, have some pretty good arm strength. Does not throw as hard as he did as a Boston Red Sox player.
Now Rollins' 2-run homer was a big one in the 5th. He's also walked, singled, and bounced out. You know, for the Phillies, if you look at them in a broad stroke, their problems have not been Rollins, Utley, or Howard, or even Marlon Byrd or Carlos Ruiz. Problems have been the younger players
that they were counting on. Ashe's been playing a little bit better lately, but Dominic Brown has not done what they expected.
As well, the Phillies have a team ERA of over 4. That rotation that at one time was the greatest rotation ever assembled has taken its hits, and as we noted earlier today, there's a 1-hopper. Dietrich gets the out at first. Cliff Lee had an MRI today on his elbow in Philadelphia. I believe he was to rejoin the Phils here in Miami. He was supposed to get in sometime this afternoon or early this evening. But Philadelphia's ERA is 13th in the National League at 4.02 coming into play. Marlins Live presented by Checkers. Disco's second start 5 runs in the column of Anthony DeSclafani. And if you want to broad stroke the Marlins, the issues for the Fish have been play on the road and 6th, 7th, sometimes 8th inning in relief. AJ Ramos has not been a problem. He's been terrific this year, building on a very good year last year. Mike Dunn's been solid.
And I think at times you could throw in, if you're broad stroking it, I think at times you could throw in inconsistencies from the starters. You know, it would be nice, and I'm sure Mike Redmond would love to see 4, 5, 6 starts in a row, getting to that 7th inning, maybe even getting to the 8th inning. That makes a world of difference handling that bullpen.
Now, as a result of that, the Marlins have been heavy on long men in the bullpen.
Yeah, we talked about it the other night. The Marlins actually have 3 long men in that bullpen.
Ruiz trots down after a 1-out walk. Utley comes up.
And Kevin Slowey. We saw Randy Wolf, Brad Hand, all basically long men.
Email from Louis. Any chances that Jake Marisnick might get called up if Ozuna continues to struggle? We talked about Marisnick. He had an awful April. He hit under 200. He hit 182 in April. He's hitting 305 in May. I think in any organization you want to have depth in the minor leagues that pushes your players at the major leagues, especially your young players.
I think it's good to have that,
without a doubt. Liner by Utley into right field. That's a base hit. Stanton will cut it off. Utley's looking for 2, and he's going to get there with a double. And now the Phillies have 2nd and 3rd and 1 out, and Ramos is in a tight spot with Howard and Bird coming up.
It's amazing how walks set up innings. You talked about it in the 6th inning with Hand pitching to Ashe, and he walked him, and that kind of continued that inning. The walk here, 2nd batter of the inning. Carlos Ruiz sets it up for Utley's double. Now all of a sudden, 2nd and 3rd. You got Ryan Howard up there. He probably won't see anything. He'll walk him intentionally.
Puts the focus on Marlon Bird. Bird is 1 for 4 with a double and an RBI, and he's had a solid year for the Phils. Some games have turned final, including the Nationals win over Cincinnati 9-4. Doug Fister gets the win. He's now 1-1. Johnny Cueto takes the loss. He's 4-3. And so the Nationals get 5 hits from their leadoff man, Denard Span, including a pair of doubles. Washington improves to 24-21. The Braves shut out Milwaukee. Julio Teheran has an ERA of under 2, yet he's only 3-3. Strike to Bird. The Marlins have hopes of a comeback in the bottom of the ninth. Incumbent on Ramos getting some outs here.
Yeah, it's a must. It's imperative to at least just keep the lead to a 2-run lead. But A.J. Ramos has a tough bat to deal with in Marlon Byrd.
A veteran bat, a guy that really blossomed later in his career. We saw him as a Washington National. Got a Philly at every base. With Howard at first, Utley at second, Ruiz at third.
Marlon Byrd, an all-star in 2010 with the Cubs.
0-2. The Phillies coming off a good weekend where they scored runs. An 8-3 win, a 12-1 win, and that was after getting shut out 4 times in a span of 10 games. They lost 8 of those 10 and dipped under 500. But up 2 here. Bird pounds one foul. On a night where both starters went short. Anthony DeSclafani for Miami, 5 1/3, 5 runs. A.J. Burnett, 5 innings and 3 runs. Burnett was lifted for a pinch hitter, and the biggest hit of the night came from John Mayberry Jr. That was in the 6th, a 2-run single. And that was after the Marlins intentionally walked Tony Gwynn to get to Burnett. Ryan Sandberg countered with Mayberry, who's having a terrific year as a pinch hitter. Ramos out of Miami's bullpen, and the Phils have loaded the bases here in the ninth. Elevates the fastball and gets a strikeout.
So one thing, Rich, that A.J. Ramos can do and why he's effective out of the bullpen, he has many weapons. We've seen him use the curveball. He surprises a lot of hitters with that fastball, and he also has a very good changeup. So he got a tough hitter, and Marlon Byrd got the fastball by him.
Now Ashe, the young third baseman who's walked his last 2 at bats. Ashe would like to make up for the misplay on a pop-up in the bottom of the 8th in an inning that could have been much worse for the Phillies. Miami got a run to make it 6-4 and had runners at the corners with nobody out. And Mike Adams went to work striking out Marcelo Zuna and Adeiny Echeverria. And got Reed Johnson to bounce into a fielder's choice to limit the damage to just the 1 run.
Talked about that changeup. We've seen a couple of good ones from A.J. Ramos to Cody Ashe.
Applebaum is ready. Ramos trying to deliver it to the bottom of the 9th and keep it at a 2-run deficit. And his 0-2. Another changeup misses out.
The other importance of getting it to the 9th inning, a 6-4 game. You get a man on, Stanton comes up third.
And the top of the order due up for Miami. 1-2. Got him. Changeup. Buried it. Tripled up. Ramos strikes out Ashe. Applebaum's coming in. Stanton's coming up. Marlins are down a couple going to the bottom of the 9th. and they have their closer on the mound in the bottom of the 9th inning. Giancarlo Stanton watches from the top step of the dugout. Jonathan Papelbon gets loose. Stanton is due up 3rd in the inning. Christian Yelich, Derek Dietrich, Stanton, and if anybody reaches, Casey McGee with Garrett Jones behind him. Of course, Papelbon knows what he's doing out there. This is a guy that is a 5-time All-Star, his 3rd year with the Phillies.
Well, he's posted good numbers this year. Those are his career numbers here in this ballpark. Opposing batters this year hitting 175 against Papelbon. Fastball not quite where it was at one time, but still in the low 90s. He'll sink it a little bit more. Occasionally a breaking ball and a very good splitter.
And Papelbon has gone 15 consecutive scoreless innings. It's the 3rd longest active streak among National League pitchers. He blew his first save opportunity of the year in Texas, and he's gone 11 in a row without blowing another. Comes in on Yelich, who was lined out twice, bounced out, and walked. One and two.
With an 0 for 3 tonight, Yelich walked back in the 4th inning. 0 for his last 13 is Christian Yelich.
Papelbon, 1-2 coming. There's the split, and somehow Yelich identified it and laid off.
Good take. Yelich did line a ball to left field his first at bat tonight. Hit it right on the nose.
Pitch just low. Fastball up. Full count, 3-2. Dietrich on deck. Miami looking for a base runner. It's out, and they've got one. Yelich to first. Leadoff walk in the 9th.
That's what Yelich does so well. Good discipline at the plate, good eye. That's all you wanted. Your hope, obviously, if Dietrich can stay out of a double play, your hope was to get Stanton to the plate, either representing the tying run or the winning run.
Dietrich, an 0 for 3. 5 home runs for Dietrich. Couple of home runs on the road trip.
Dietrich working on a hitting streak, trying to extend that. And so many times with this 17-5 home record, the Marlins have had exciting endings.
And a strike. A ball and a strike. So many opportunities to get runs tonight, and the Marlins squandered a few here in the 9th. They'd like to put themselves in a position just one more time. Here's a 1-1. It's a strike.
Kind of a delayed call by Will Little.
Here's a look. And Fox Tracks has it out. Wow. Somewhere in his office, Mike Redmond is still steaming. He was tossed by Will Little earlier in the ball game. The split Little tapper to Rollins, who flips to Utley, who gets clobbered at second. Yelich is down. Utley's all right.
You know, the one guy who can appreciate that the most is Chase Utley, because that's the way he plays. Not a double play ball, so Yelich had time to get on him. He got on him. Clean slide, upended Utley.
With Dietrich's speed, it wasn't going to be a double play anyways, and it does bring Stanton to the plate. Stanton has walked twice, flied out, popped out. Dietrich at first, Papelbon. Fastball, a strike. And that was way in.
I mean, these calls just changed the at-bat in so many ways. The one that Dietrich made it a 1-2 count. This all of a sudden makes it 0-1.
Look how far Ruiz is set up. And it was in on
And then it
Stanton.
makes you swing at that pitch.
And the count is 0-2. As you pointed out, both managers and both dugouts have been unhappy from the get-go. Now Stanton sitting on an 0-2 pitch. Papelbon so good with the off-speed stuff. Broken bat. Ashe, and he's out at second. Now that might be a play you could challenge, because it's not the neighborhood play. And the Marlins, Rob Leary is going to go out. And I think if you've got the challenge, you might as well use it now.
So Rob Leary, who has taken over as acting manager, he's passed the baton to Frank Menechino.
But the replay room appears to say that Utley was on the bag. And we take our first look at it. Yep. Kept the toe on.
Toe on. Good job. Good concentration by Chase Utley.
Here's McGee. The neighborhood play is only when a throw is on the bag and a guy is trying to turn a double play. McGee fouls it off. When a throw pulls a pivot man, a second baseman or a shortstop away from the bag, all of a sudden that is no longer a courtesy that the umpires will give. So Stanton remains at first. McGee trying to keep the inning alive, and he swings and misses. And now Papelbon with a count 0-2. The Marlins lose this ball game. They won't look to this, the ninth inning. They'll look to the 8th. They'll look to the 3rd. They'll look back to the 1st.
Yeah, those are 3 opportunities that you pointed out, with the runner at 3rd, less than 2 out, where the Marlins failed to get that run in. And they were all strikeouts. They failed to make contact. And you tack on those 3 runs, we're on our way home right now.
Rob Leary running the club. Mike Redmond has been ejected. Casey McGee trying to hang in against a really tough right-hander. And a long-time closer with a lot of success, Jonathan Papelbon. Stanton is on his way to second. Papelbon misses up. The count's 2-2. No stolen base. Stanton now in scoring position. Maybe that's the magic touch that McGee needs.
Yeah, that's what Casey needs, because he's at 432 with runners in scoring position.
In. Garrett Jones is on deck.
The Marlins' hottest hitter tonight.
3 for 4 with a couple doubles. Full count. Applebaum's 3-2. It's out and McGee walks. And Miami still has life. Well, not done yet are the Phillies and the Marlins. A pair of walks by Papelbon in the inning. Philadelphia's outfield is as deep as you can get. And here is Jones. 6 home runs, 12 doubles, and twice he has doubled tonight. Stanton at second. Fastball had a rip, and it's 0-1.
He's ready for it. Had a good rip.
One for 6 in his career against Papelbon. McGee is the tying run. He's at first. Papelbon wants to talk to Ruiz. A ball and a strike.
A lot of pitches. 21 so far.
Papelbon on a real nice run in the Phillies bullpen. 15 innings of scoreless relief. 11 consecutive saves converted. Working with runners first and second and 2 outs. And a 2-run lead. Jones coming off a very nice road trip. But he goes after the split, which has been the go-to for Papelbon against the left-handed bats of Yelich, Dietrich, and now Jones.
And you can imagine when he threw a little bit harder, how much more effective even that split was. But it's still a good one.
1-2 coming. Emergency swing and a little pop-up in the left center. Falls for a base hit. Stanton scores. McGee to third, and Miami is within a run. In case of emergency, break glass and drop one into left center.
In case of emergency, make contact. And that's what Garrett Jones did. How about a 4-hit night for Garrett Jones? Great pitch. The splitter, it was down around the ankles. The emergency swing, and he just bloops it over the head of Jimmy Rollins into that Bermuda Triangle out in left center field.
How fitting is this that Miami has the tying run at third, the winning run at first, and 2 of the biggest opportunities to get runs early in the ball game were at bats by Jared Saltalamacchia. He struck out with the bases loaded and 1 out. He struck out with a runner at third and 1 out. He had an RBI single in the 8th, and he faces Papelbon with 2 outs in the 9th. And after a high fastball.
And a couple of guys who did their thing with the Red Sox for a few years. Papelbon working. He can work up and down in the zone with the high fastball to get your eye level and then go down with the splitter. He also knows that Salty's susceptible to that high heat.
Misses away. Ball and a strike. Papelbon. 25 pitches in. Here are the 9th. Tying run 90 feet away. 2 outs. Saltalamacchia again fouls it back. Well, we've seen the split to Yelich, to Dietrich. Two left-handed bats at the start of the inning. Jones was able to fight it off and dump it into left field.
Well, we've also seen two high fastballs that Saltalamacchia has fouled off.
One, two. High ball, left center. Coming on is Gwynn. He's there, and he makes the catch. And the Phillies captured game one. Papelbon saves it. Miami gets a run, but all the opportunities that slip through their fingers come back to bite them in a one-run loss. Miami falls back down to 500, 23 and 23, and the Phils are 2 under.